I don't even think I hit go live. Are we live on, on YouTube? Okay. It says I'm live now. There's a lot of stuff. There we go. There's a lot of stuff to get into. I was actually sitting here and kind of scurrying around for about an hour. And as I'm looking, there's just more and more and more updates that kept coming out. And so there's quite a bit that we got to get through. And so that we can get to calls, because I could easily talk through all this stuff for an hour, hour and a half. But I actually want to hear from you guys this time. Let me make sure. Is everything good on your end? We're live? Okay, good. Kind of weird. It looks a little funky on my end. Let me just refresh here. All right, so a couple of things. First thing I wanted to get into, we'll start. I noticed this, which was kind of interesting. It says more than one killer possible, says official. And I think they're basically just saying that anything's possible. They're looking into every avenue. It says here officials are now exploring the possibility that more than one person carried out the brutal murders of the 4 students in Moscow, Idaho, which I keep people getting confused and thinking this is Russia. There's a place in Idaho, it's called Moscow. 4 days on from the murders, the killer or killers remains at large. I still think it's one person. We did a poll earlier, and most people thought it was 1, but then there was a little bit of a number, around 30-something% that said 2. No arrests made and no suspects named. The Latah County prosecutor Bill Thompson told NBC's Today Show that it is certainly possible that there may be more than killer. I guess they meant to say more than one killer out there. At this point, the investigators are looking at all possibilities. They don't have a specific suspect, he said. We're really hoping for any information from the public to help recreate everyone's activities. So that's one thing. Another thing, and I think this is actually a good video to watch. And this be a good recap video. I'm going to do this recap video, but it's being said that the guy in the white hoodie was spoken with, I guess interviewed. I've seen some places say interviewed. The police know who he is. They say he's not a suspect at this time. We'll get into the different snippets of that I have. And there's also a really interesting thing with Inside Edition where they're talking about Kaylee's, that supposedly she had a stalker. So I haven't even watched that whole video. We're going to watch that together. But right now, let's do this one. It's kind of updated. It's a mini timeline.
Welcome back to the news at 4. It's been 5 days since 4 University of Idaho students were found dead inside their home just off campus. And still very little details have been released about what happened that night. But here's what we know as of this afternoon. On Sunday, just before noon, someone called 911 to...
And that whole 911 thing, I mean, I was talking to a friend about it again. We know it's not the roommates that called. And it was just before noon, which, you know, people were talking about why so many hours, but it's a college town and kids are probably, or students are going to wake up late. And it was said in multiple reports that it supposedly was a friend that called. And when it was initially called, the call was made, I thought it was like a call for an unresponsive person or whatever. And I just think there's so much mystery behind this 911 call, because if it wasn't the roommates, who is this other person? Did they just walk in on this into the house? How do you confuse somebody that's like unconscious or whatever when the details were being told it was a gruesome scene? So how does that, I don't understand. Did the person see from a distance or something and just call? I don't get it. Like it's confusing. I'm not exactly sure about that, but mysterious. And they said they're not going to release that 911 call.
Report an unconscious person at a home on King Road in Moscow. That's where police found the 4 victims: Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves. We know there were 2 other roommates in the home at the time of the murders, and when police got there, they were not hurt, and police say they are cooperating. Moscow police wouldn't go so far, though, as to call them witnesses. And yesterday, the coroner's office released the autopsies and found All 4 were stabbed to death with a knife early Sunday morning. Police have not found a suspect or suspects and don't have any people of interest right now. An investigative reporter, Morgan Romero, joins us live here on the News at 4. Morgan, I know you've been digging into this. What have you learned?
Yeah, we did learn today, Shira, that the Latah County coroner believes it's likely that at least some of the 4 victims were asleep at the time. She wouldn't specify which of the 4 victims. We also know that this happened in the early morning hours of Sunday. That is confirmed. The coroner tells 7 Investigates bed sheets were taken from the home for testing, but she couldn't speak to any defensive wounds or the specific time of.
Which we had heard the father of one of the victims state that she fought. I don't know if it was Xana. I think it was Xana's. I'm not sure. That she had some sort of defensive wounds. I had the article up earlier.
Death on Sunday morning.
Stream.
Police put out a clearer picture of the hours leading up to the attack. They released a timeline and the locations of where all 4 victims were before they were murdered at their home on King Road in Moscow.
This horrific attack on 4 college students happened less than a mile from the University of Idaho campus. Sororities and fraternities and their out-of-houses are mostly centralized in this area. New information from Idaho State Police reveals 2 of the victims, Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle,
Pull myself a little bit.
were together Saturday night, November 12th. They went to a Sigma Chi fraternity party across from their home on King Road from 8 to 9 p.m. The other 2 victims, Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen, were at the Corner Club on Main Street.
Which this whole Corner Club thing is kind of interesting because I remember that Reddit post we read in the first stream. I'm going to have to make a playlist. So if you guys want to follow the different bits of information that I covered, because it's a lot, like the live streams are pretty much jam-packed. But in that Reddit post, I don't even know if they were saying Jake or Jack or whatever it is, right? Even though the Hoodie guy, they know who he is, so there doesn't need to be a witch hunt. They mentioned some sort of club, and I had thought they said Corner Club, so I thought it was kind of interesting. With this timeline came out by police, they released this image, which is what they're covering now in the news. They do mention this club, Corner Club. You know, so we'll keep playing it. And if you guys could hit like too, I'd appreciate it. It really helps out the stream and the algorithm, so more people can see the live stream and video.
It's about a mile and a half away from the home on King Road. Police say they were there from around 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. After leaving the bar, the girls went to the grub truck just down Main Street from the Corner Club. It's about a 6-minute walk. They're seen in a video from the food truck, ordering food around 1:40 Sunday morning. U of I students tell us it's a common weekend routine to go from the Corner Club to the food truck. Idaho State Police says all 4 victims were back at the King Road house.
And so the piece that we got in between from the last live stream, which I think somewhere before we take calls, I'll play that video, just a portion of it, because the sister was saying that they took an Uber. So I'm assuming that they're at this club. I don't know how they got there. Maybe they walked on foot because it's all relatively close, but from the grub truck to the actual house, if it was on foot, they said it would be about 20 minutes. But the sister mentions they took an Uber from here to the house, the King Road. And I don't know if they've spoken or interviewed that Uber guy. I'm sure it can't be hard to figure out. And we still have the whole thing where the sister was saying that they called Jack. I think it was Jack. Or let me pull up the names. Maybe they're just friends. Maybe they're associates. I don't know. Jack. She called Jack 6 times. I think I should play that clip when we get there to that portion.
A little more than a mile from the food truck by 1:45 a.m. Sunday, November 13th. What unfolded after that is unclear. It wasn't until noon on Sunday police received a call of an unconscious person. When they got to the home on King Road, they found the 4 victims, Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Maddie, dead. They confirm all 4 were stabbed early Sunday morning.
Yeah, so it was Kaylee's sister.
The Latah County coroner tells us all the victims could have been killed with the same knife or a very similar knife. Police say they haven't yet found the weapon.
And during the only and first news conference held earlier this week, reporters asked Moscow police about that video from the food truck that I mentioned. It's circulating all over social media. Moscow Police Chief James Fry says this Twitch video is helping give them.
And these calls would have been right before, I believe, the death, close to that death. The gypsy says Jack 6 times.
The time and space of where Maddie and Kaylee were
Not the same Jack as the boy. They're saying some boyfriend or something, whatever. No, yeah, it's not that.
leading up to their deaths.
Hello. Hi. Welcome back.
In this live stream from the grub truck, you see the girls walk into the frame and up to the food truck. It appears they're with a young man, the one in the hat and dark jacket. Here you can see him put his hood on. He hangs back several feet behind the girls as they order from the food truck. He then follows Kaylee and Maddie after they order and stands right next to them. It looks like he never ordered any food, but you can see him talking to other people there. Several minutes later, the girls grab their food, take a picture, laugh and talk to each other, and quickly walk away. One of the people the young man is talking to points out that the girls left. He throws up his hand, waits a moment, and then appears to walk after them. You see him wave at the girls and then walk a separate direction. This recording shows all three are at the food truck for about 10 minutes, and police say Kaylee and Madison were home just minutes later, by about 1:45. Their home is a little more than a mile from the grub truck. A University of Idaho student who says he's friends with the victims told us this young man was with the girls at the corner club before this. ISP.
You guys remember the Reddit post, right? Now she's saying the same thing. Now, again, just reiterating, the police are saying that they know who this guy is and they've spoken to him and he's not a suspect at this time. But just taking in all the information, it's interesting. Like I said, we're just talking about the country club, right? Well, I'm not going to go too far back right there.
You see him wave at the girls and then walk a separate direction. This recording shows all three are at the food truck for about 10 minutes, and police say Kaylee and Madison were home just minutes later, by about 1:45. Their home is a little more than a mile from the grub truck. A University of Idaho student who says he's friends with the victims told us this young man was with the girls at the corner club before this. ISP says authorities
The corner club, yeah.
contacted the young man in the video, and they interviewed him as part of the investigation. They are not labeling him as a suspect or person of interest at this time.
Again, police say they have not identified.
So that Reddit post seemed to be accurate. And the timeline they released, maybe I'll make myself smaller. 11:12, so between 20 and 2100, 89 p.m., Ethan and Xana attended Sigma Chai party. And then 11:12 between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie at Corner Club, the club we're talking about. So at least that kind of confirms that this guy was there too. Who knows? Did he just meet them up there, meet them there, and maybe exchange phone numbers? Maybe he was just hanging out. That'd be crazy though. Imagine to be like you're just going out. Let's say he's not involved at all, right? And he's been interviewed and stuff. They're not living as a suspect or person of interest, and you're just the person that it almost reminds me of the Delphi thing in a way, in a way, because remember those girls' bodies? The killer dumped the bodies in this guy's backyard, and this guy, I guess he's roaming out. He comes around or something, and he finds these bodies. And he ends up lying to police, I guess, because they figure they're going to pin this on him. It's just kind of crazy. So, you know, if he's really nothing at all, how wild is that you just meet these girls and the next thing you know, they're murdered. But there's just still a lot of missing pieces, and still the sister with the call thing, the 6 calls to who knows how many Jack. Could be any Jack, I guess. The call thing is weird, and the timing is weird too. And so, yeah, they got the corner club. They walk down here. There's the grub truck. And then I guess if we're going off of what the sister says, an Uber was taken. All right. I just want to play, in case anybody missed it, it's really short. I'm just going to play the end part of it. Of the sister.
A person or persons of interest or a suspect in this investigation. But anyone near these areas who saw anything suspicious.
Just real quick. And then we'll keep it moving.
Citizen Sleuth.
I do want to take calls. We've got a lot to go through. But I just want to get to the part where the sister's talking.
down their Uber driver.
I found neighbors' Ring camera footage so that I can verify that the Uber driver took her home.
She's also raising questions about why her sister called a young man named Jack multiple times the night she was slain.
At 2:26 a.m., Kaylee starts to call Jack. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times between 2:26 a.m. to 2:44 a.m.
Gosh, I give you a lot of credit. You're almost like a detective here, putting all the pieces together. I spoke with retired detective Phil Waters, who had a 96% clearance rate on homicide cases when he was with the Houston police.
There's no doubt that this is a person who is filled with a type of evil that is incomprehensible.
There were 2 other roommates in the house who walked away from this. How is that possible?
The use of an edged weapon is going to prevent any kind of real sounds that would...
That's another really important point, because I'm going to do that next, Jules. Check the latest Inside Edition video. But a lot of people kept mentioning, how is this possible? Why would nobody wake up? And, people were saying the roommates are in on it, which there's, there's no indication that they are. It's weird, but the 911 calls where they could have been sleeping in, but you can, I guess, do something like this. We even talked about the guy's name, Tom Lynn Sills, or whatever his name is, the weirdo that would try to kill those kids. He'd sneak in through the window and use with a knife.
The other 2 girls, if this person, and it appears to be they are, proficient with an edged weapon, the deaths would have occurred so quickly that there would have been no opportunity for them to cry out.
All right. Okay. So this again, just reiterating, Idaho State Police tells KTVB the man in a dark jacket and light hoodie in the video has been identified and has been interviewed as part of the routine investigation. Another snippet here. Alexandria. We're also going to get into some of the reporters were upset. The local reporters, they were upset because they were saying that the national news is getting information before they are. Well, we'll talk about that later. So she says here, okay, so ISP also confirmed that they've identified the man in the white hoodie in the grub truck. They have interviewed him. He's not a suspect at this time. Okay. Got that. Before we get into the new Inside Edition video, which talks about the stalker, I want to just cover this real quick too. And so this is talking about the house. This is KTVB, and this is by I think Alexandria did this as well. Yeah, I should start plugging their links, their Twitter links in the description. It says a source that used to live in the house for 3 years and attend University of Idaho and is remaining anonymous due to safety reasons tells KTVB that there are 2 bedrooms on each of the floors of the 3-story home and a slider door that leads out to the back. The source said that around 20 feet from the slider door near the kitchen is a bedroom, then stairs to the 3rd floor is close by. The slider door leads out to a backyard that backs up to a remote area, which I'm going to show you a tweet by Simply Stranger showing the map back area, the remote area. So this person says that it would be hard to hear anything from the bottom level. He said in his time living there from 2012 to 2015, downstairs roommates often had parties or music turned up loud because they are below the living room towards the front end of the house, the source said. So many memories in that house that they're ruined now. It hits close to home. I think that was kind of it. They were also kind of reiterating that somewhere I saw it, that you wouldn't have heard anything really either. Like the sound from the down level to the upper floor, you just really wouldn't have heard anything. Here it is. Simply Stranger, thank you so much for posting this. And so let's take a look at how the murderer might have exited out of the back and what logical way one might run while covered in blood. And so this is the home right here. And this is the remote, I guess, back area. So that's the back area over there. So you got a lot of trees. I mean, you got homes too, obviously, but you could slide out. And I mean, I would wonder, I'm sure they have, but maybe they should search for kind of evidence or anything. Sure, through these woods, blood or whatever. Cameras. I mean, the sister said she was going out and searching for cameras. Kate Raven, thanks so much for the super chat, says, a knife is personal. The perp knew the victim and the victims knew the perp. The police need to look close to home. I agree. It does seem very personal. Senator, thank you for the super chat, says, the sister is amazing. Would be great to hear what she thinks went on. I know. Somebody was telling me I should try to maybe reach out to her if she wanted to, I don't know, say anything, but she's putting in work. She's investigating herself. Okay. We got that. So let's talk about this new release that came out from the Moscow Police Department. They just posted this 40 minutes ago. I wish I would have pre-read it, but before the stream, but you know. So it says the Moscow Police Department is providing the following information to update the public on the known facts surrounding the 4 murders that occurred on November 13th in Moscow, Idaho. On the evening of November 12th, Kaylee and Madison were at the local bar called the Corner Club. That's the address in downtown Moscow between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m. On November 13th at approximately 1:40 a.m., Kaylee and Madison were seen on video at a local food vendor called The Grub. All stuff we know. 318 Main Street, and used Uber, confirmation again there, from downtown to arrive to their 1122 King Road residence at 1:45 a.m. So it's just like the sister said. Investigators have determined that Ethan and Xana were seen at the Sigma Chi House on the University of Idaho campus at 735 Nez Perce Drive at approximately 1:45 a.m. Ethan and Xana are believed to have returned to the residence at 1122 King Road. So I guess they both parties got there around the same time. So they arrive at 1:45 a.m. and an investigator said Ethan and Xana were seen at the Sigma Chi House on University of Idaho campus at approximately 1:45 a.m. Ethan and Xana are believed to have returned. So they came home around the same time. Damn, that's crazy, like the timing. To the residence of 1122 King Road. It was previously reported that Ethan resided at the home. However, it has been determined he was only visiting, which we've already been talking that he didn't live there. 2 other roommates were at the residence on November 13th at 11:58 a.m. Officers responded to the residence after a 911 call reported an unconscious individual. And this is what I was just kind of talking about, and I was talking to a friend about this. It's just kind of weird how, like what unconscious individual? Like the call was for an unconscious individual. And I know they said it was a friend, but like if the murder scene was as gruesome as they're saying, then I don't know, how's there confusion of somebody just being unconscious? I mean, unless, I don't know. I mean, there's literally blood dripping from the side of the foundation of the house, like outside. That's weird. Upon arrival, officers discovered Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan deceased inside the residence. Autopsies were conducted on November 17th. The Loudoun County coroner confirmed the identity of the 4 murdered individuals and their cause and manner of death as homicide by stabbing. The coroner stated that 4 victims were likely asleep. Some had defensive wounds, and each stabbed multiple times. There was no sign of SA. And the other thing that, I forgot we got to play after this, we're going to do the new Inside Edition clip. The other thing too is when we were covering this earlier, the lady, one of the reports had said that they're not able to tell the time of like who was attacked first or who died first kind of thing because of how long it took to report or the 911 call. Which I was curious because I was thinking maybe the first person would be the person wanted the most, or maybe it was just convenience or who was closer to the entrance of the place. And then the other thing that we spoke about earlier today as well is that the coroner, when she was talking to, I think it was Ashley Banfield was saying that, or she asked her about how many stab wounds, and the coroner was kind of vague, but the coroner said that there was multiple stab wounds, but that there was one main one, which was like the upper chest, which I'm assuming maybe the throat area. And then there was other multiple wounds. And so I'm thinking maybe this person would first go for the throat, possibly, and then do additional, I guess, out of anger or whatever is going on with this person. At this time in the investigation, detectives do not believe the two surviving roommates or the male in the grub truck surveillance video are involved in this crime. Okay, so important information so people don't go, after this person. Additionally, online reports of the victims being tied and gagged are not accurate. So that one came from, there was a YouTuber that posted in the community tab, and she said in the tab too, she doesn't know if this is true or not. Somebody had posted with the same name as one of the surviving victims, and that person said that supposedly they walked in and they were like tied and gagged or something like that, or bound. And so they're saying that's not true. I'm going to get the text in a minute too. After I'm done reading, I'll check it out. And I'm also really glad that the police are kind of jumping on this at least, and whenever they can, clearing things up, because I just feel like when you think about Kylie Rodney, these people are, and still are, silent. I mean, I don't know, like the law, they could have cleared more stuff up, but they just, tucked their thing between their legs and moved on or left. Okay. The identity of the 911 caller has not been released. As part of the investigation, detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road to locate possible evidence. That's a good idea. I mean, I hope that was done from day 1 or close to it. Additionally, detectives had contacted local businesses to determine if a fixed blade knife had been recently purchased. At the time of this release, detectives have received nearly 500 tips, which are being processed, investigated, and cleared. 38 interviews have been conducted with individuals who may have information about the murders. Wow. Okay, 38 interviews have been conducted. Okay. And here's the tip line and information. I'll put that in the description as well. The Moscow Police Department is utilizing assistance from the Idaho State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Latah County Sheriff's Office. Moscow Police Department, 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, and it's a pretty small town. They just got 4 detectives, 24 patrol officers, 5 support staff. Or maybe that's the amount of detectives they have in the case. I don't know if that's overall or that's how many they got on the case. Federal Bureau of Investigators, 22 investigators in Moscow, 20 assigned agents located outside Treasure Valley, ID, State, Salt Lake City, Utah, and West Virginia. 2 behavioral analysis unit. Idaho State Police, 20 investigators, 15 troopers, public information officer, ISP forensic services, and mobile crime scene team. 15 uniformed troopers to assist the community patrols. Currently, there are no suspects in custody, and the weapon still has not been found. All right, so next thing, I really want to show this because I watched like halfway through and I was like, oh crap, this over here talks about the stalker thing. Let me just put this phone number here. Okay, so I'll put the hotline information there. Let's do this.
That the caller was not repeat. Who called 911? We're learning that the caller was not, repeat, not either of the 2 roommates who live in the house and apparently slept through the massacre. So the mystery is, who did make that 911 call to police, and how did that person make the gruesome discovery? I spoke with County Prosecutor Bill Thompson.
It's an essential part of the case. Whoever discovered the scene first, whoever initiated the contact with law enforcement is all part of understanding what occurred and the timeline of what occurred.
He told me the 2 roommates may have critical information.
The investigators are already talking to them and trying to get from them everything they can possibly remember about what they may have seen, what they may have heard, what their activities were, what they know about the activities of their housemates.
A new wrinkle, former LAPD detective Mark Furman, yes, that Mark Furman from the O.J. Simpson trial, now lives in Idaho and is claiming that victim Kaylee Goncalves had a stalker.
I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee, But Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker.
Only when
This social media video shows all 5 women in the kitchen of the house they shared. We're learning that the killer, for some reason, bypassed the rooms where the 2 young survivors were sleeping.
Their story was they heard partying, they heard noise, but they just, as usual, said, there's partying going on. They locked the door.
Another mystery, where was Kaylee's dog the night of the killings? Why didn't his barking
We spoke about that in the last stream too, about the dog.
wake everyone up? Autopsies on the 4 students found each had multiple stab wounds. Some had defensive wounds, showing they fought with the attacker.
Yeah.
And there was no sexual assault. County
Defensive wounds.
Coroner Kathy Mabbutt is describing the murders as personal.
Were they found in beds?
Yes. There were multiple stab wounds. The fatal ones were to the chest area or the upper body area.
The father of Xana Kernodle says her wounds show she fought for her life.
Bruises, maybe hurt by the knife or whatever. She's a tough kid. Whatever she wanted to do, she could do it.
And we're learning that another victim, Madison Mogen, had planned to spend Thanksgiving with the family of her boyfriend, Jake Schreiger. His mother says his world has been turned upside down.
So this is and somebody just sent me an article about that. I can segue into that next. But the other thing too that I heard was that supposedly the killer went past the room where the survivors are at. Did I hear that right? We'll have to take it back a little bit.
And we're learning that another victim, Madison Mogen, had planned to spend Thanksgiving with the family of her boyfriend, Jake Schreiger. His mother says his world has been turned upside.
Oh, isn't that the guy? That's the guy. That's the name. The guy. That's the name people were saying on Reddit.
Down. There's growing anger.
I thought that was the name that we were saying on Reddit. I'm so confused now because I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet with the Idaho people saying that, this guy was talked to already too. And the one weird thing is the tweet said he was cleared, but there's the other news clip saying that nobody's been cleared. There's been people that have been interviewed and cooperating. So
mother says his world has been turned upside down. There's growing anger over the progress of the investigation.
And no, Jake, not Jack. I can't. This Jake and Jack stuff is just throwing me off.
Wanted to do, she could do it.
And we're learning that another victim, Madison Mogen, had planned to spend Thanksgiving with the family of her boyfriend, Jake Schreiger. His mother says...
Oh, so they said Jake. Okay, they said Jake. So let's not get it confused. Let me look at the name that somebody DM'd me today. Too many names for me. So BL was telling me... Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. All right. So let me put this in the chat for you guys, too. So there's a Jack, that's Kaylee's boyfriend. There's a Jake, that's Maddie's boyfriend. And then there's a Jack, that's the food truck guy. But, I think this is the guy they're referencing that was spoken to and clear. But then also they're saying the hoodie guy, which I guess is Jack. This is Jake. But then there's Jack. And so they both have spoken to police. Take notes, you're reporting. I am taking notes. I have plenty of notes. Take notes, iCkEdMeL. How dare you forget or confuse all the whatever. I actually have multiple. Well, that one doesn't have much. You have notes. Take notes, iCkEdMeL. You're reporting, you piece of shit.
His world has been turned upside down. There's growing anger over the progress of the investigation in Moscow, Idaho. Madison Mogen's aunt says the lack of information, statements from left field, and lack of outreach to the public to gain information has made this even more painful. On a typical weeknight, Main Street in this small college town is bustling, but not tonight. So many people are fearful over these 4 brutal homicides that many students have left campus and returned home, leaving Moscow, Idaho, a virtual ghost town. I found University of Idaho.
The guy in the hoodie, we were told supposedly that's Jack. Okay. Right now we're talking about Jake. On this video, this clip here. I wanted to see the other thing so that I don't remember where it was at. That they had, I think it was towards the beginning where they had mentioned that Supposedly the guy walked past.
Trying to get from them everything they can possibly remember about what they may have seen, what they may have heard, what their activities were, what they know about the activities of their housemates.
A new wrinkle, former LAPD detective Mark Furman, yes, that Mark Furman from the O.J. Simpson trial, now lives in Idaho and is claiming that victim Kaylee Goncalves had a stalker.
I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee, but Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker.
Only when I
So they should get loose with the copyright.
Video shows all 5 women in the kitchen of the house they shared. We're learning that the killer, for some reason, bypassed the rooms where the 2 young survivors were sleeping.
So I don't know what they mean if he actually like literally bypassed them to go to the other people, or he's just saying the other people were killed and he bypassed killing these. You know, the words can be like finicky and stuff. So I don't know. Let me get this article too that I had as well that was sent to me on Twitter. Thank you, Tyler, for this. Okay. And this is this will be a good little to continue the conversation here. My first time seeing this. Boyfriend of Idaho University student has had world turned upside down by her murder. Madison Mogen had been in a relationship with a fellow Idaho University student, Jake Schreiger. So that's the guy we just saw on Inside Edition. All right. That's Maddie's boyfriend. There's also Kaylee had a boyfriend, or has a, Jack. But it's this different Jack from the guy that was at the fruit truck thing. So that's why there's like all this confusion and stuff. Wish I could close that out. So it says here, Madison Mogen had been in a relationship with fellow Idaho University student Jake, oh my God, for around a year. His mother, Stacy, described the young couple as being like peanut butter and jelly, and the pair often posted loving photos of each other on their social media accounts. On Sunday, Mogen was brutally stabbed to death along with 3 friends inside her college home in an attack that officials are describing as personal. And we already covered this autopsy stuff. Homicide. Ms. Schreiger says that her son's world has been turned upside down by the news of his girlfriend's savage murder. She revealed that Mogen was close with the family and she had been looking forward to the young couple both coming to spend Thanksgiving with her later this month. We were expecting her for Thanksgiving, she said. Whenever we talked on the phone, she always said, "I love you." Ms. Schreiger paid tribute to Mogen as the most beautiful person inside and out, adding that all 4 victims were amazing young people. Her comments came as the father of another victim revealed that she fought her killer to the very end. We covered that earlier. So this is them right here, Jake and Maddie. All right. Okay, so I want to keep moving because I want to get to calls too. We got that. Oh, this is something I meant to play earlier in the day.
Where are you now? Bringing Mark Furman, former LA police detective. You live in Idaho. Mark, good morning to you. You've talked to some students. What have you found out? And where are you now as to how far police or investigators may or may not be?
Well, good morning, Bill and Sandra. Tragic. I mean, it's beyond tragic what happened in Moscow. But, you know, I talked to students as early as Monday. I talked to alumni, some parents, not the parents of the victims. But what I did learn is I knew about these 2 girls that were in the apartment, in the house, that at the exact time of the murder. And their story was they heard partying, they heard noise, but they just, as usual, said, you know, there's partying going on, and they locked the door. It's interesting that they said they locked the door, and then I talked to more students, and they go, well, when you're in a house that has a party and you don't want to party, you lock the door so nobody comes in. But it does actually create some more of the timeline. Now we have Madison and Kaylee that went to a food truck at 3:43. So when I'm trying to reconstruct in my head this series of events. We know that Madison and Kaylee are alive at 3:43. They go back to the house. Was that food eaten? Was that food still in packaging? Was that food part of the attack where it was strewn all over the house? Was Madison and Kaylee attacked first and Xana and Ethan hear the commotion and come down? I think it's, interesting and really kind of disturbing that the police get there and immediately they say this was a targeted attack. And I think this is really important in this investigation at almost day 6. The targeted attack, it wasn't because they have seen so many homicides of this.
Yeah, I heard him say 343 also, Gypsy. I was like, oh, did I hear that right? That he said it
type,
right.
They could make that determination. There was something at the scene that made them think that one of those victims was the target, but why? And I think it's time that they release at least the basis for that impression, because somebody might actually know something about one of the victims that they relayed before the murder.
Seems like so much of the information has been really, really slow to come out here. We caught up with Dr. Michael Bodden yesterday, forensic pathologist, who said that the scene, this gruesome scene that we've seen, the very graphic images of, Mark, should reveal more, particularly when it comes to possibly obtaining the DNA of the perpetrator. Because there can be slippage with the knife with this many stab wounds. I mean, horrific to talk about, but he said this yesterday.
When there's this many stab wounds and there's a lot of blood is very slippery, and sometimes the perpetrator is cut by the slippage of the knife, and some of the blood at the scene can belong to the perpetrator. And DNA will be able to evaluate.
He misspoke. I believe he misspoke on the time, guys. He definitely had to misspeak on the time.
Hopefully that takes them somewhere with this.
All right. I totally agree, Sandra. And Dr. Bodden makes a good point about slippage. Blood is incredibly slippery. And in a battle with 4 different people, maybe 4 different times or some 2 at a time, there is a chaos. And you have to remember that the attacker is also trying to hold and fend off the victim with one hand and stab with the other. And sometimes his hand.
Yeah, there was an article that said, and they were saying, I feel like things have changed over time, but from Fox News, I had this here that they said the 4 were killed around 3 or 4 in the morning.
Hand or forearm or even leg might come in contact with the blade. But there's another thing. The suspect is walking in blood. There should be a shoe print, a footprint, a boot print. There should be something at that scene that they cannot attribute to the police or the first responders that actually arrived. So that's important. The possibility that there's a 5th blood type / DNA there from the suspect's blood is huge. And I think that's what the FBI and ISP went in to try to find, to actually identify all the blood types. So these are important, but the targeted attack with the knife is a knife is a weapon of rage. And if one victim had, numerous stab wounds more than every other victim, then you could assume that the one victim was the target. That's true. And the rest were collateral. But then you have to actually tell the public who was the target, because they talk. People talk before this incident. And I talked to one student, and I agree with this. It was twice removed from the person that said it, Kaylee. But Kaylee 2 months ago complained about a stalker.
And there may be something to that. Yeah, Mark, thank you so much. Very interesting.
Cut him off, too. I'm curious about the stalker. Okay, let me kind of keep it moving a little bit more quicker. Almost there. Almost caught up. This was just kind of I don't know if I should say beef, but the local reporters were upset. I guess Alexandria, she said here, it's really frustrating for local journalists to see things like this after we've already asked those questions and can't talk about it. Local reporters are here doing the work, and we know this community. I'm not sure what it is. I'm sure those people, and especially like News Nation, they probably have connects, pull. I don't know what kind of pull. I don't know if those people pay. I don't think they do. I mean, I don't know, because you've seen time and time sometimes that certain news stations get information over what everybody else couldn't get. And so like, because I remember one time too, the Sun had gotten information about, I forgot what it was. It was regarding Kylie. Clearing, I think it was Clearing Jagger. They're one of the first persons, and then people were like, oh no, it can't be true. And why didn't the police just make an official statement or whatever? And then it was confirmed to be true. So I don't know what it is. Is there a money thing or some sort of incentive or like what? It's weird. Because I think about that Kylie situation, and the police could have said that a long time ago. And then I guess, I don't know what happened. The Sun reached out, got that information, and other YouTubers went and confirmed to the police by DMing them, and they said, yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know. It says here, this is what she told me last night. Update. Talked to a lot of county. Well, this is kind of old already. She said, has no way of knowing if it was the same knife, but if it wasn't, would have been a similar knife. Cannot speak to defensive wounds, which now they say there was defensive wounds. Doesn't know if they were sleeping, which now they're saying it's likely that they were sleeping. It's kind of old information. ISP told me this was 9 hours ago. ISP told me this morning they cannot confirm anything about who Kaylee called that night, even though the sister is saying, let me make sure I get the right J. The sister is saying Jack, but we don't know, which Jack, which I wish she would have kind of clarified. Maybe she will clarify it. Remember, we do know she was not the person who made the call to police at any point. I don't even know what this is here. It also says it's likely they were asleep. Bed sheets were taken for testing. Some of them were in bed at the time. This is interesting too, because some of them were in bed at the time. So where were the other people? Were they not in bed? Were they responding? How did that happen? Cannot say which of the four were in bed. So if some weren't in bed, I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to, was there a struggle or what? And then we went over this map of the timeline, confirming the Corner Club. And this is interesting too. Alexandria says Corner Club owner said he will not speak to the victims. He will not speak to the victims' whereabouts or actions in the bar that night to protect the investigation. Interesting. He has a good working relationship with MPD. That is all he will say. He's not hurt. Sorry, he is still hurting for the victims and hopes to see resolution soon. That's interesting. Okay, I think that was right there. I agree with the sentiment, but boys, I don't even know I know there's a whole boys, especially TV, is not local here in Moscow. This is the second boys journal I've seen claim frustration at the lack of favoritism for local based journalists. TV here, oh my God, Spokane based. There are several local and regional papers too. Hi there. When I say local journals, I'm referring to the journals from Idaho. Additionally, I just graduated from the University of Idaho, and I know the community very well. I have many friends who knew these people too. Some of my family also resides up north. So there's a little bit of, heat and tension. And there was, I meant to segue. I meant to do this first, next. This person here replied, Sally, such a slap in the face to give answers to national outlets, but not local reporters. Whether or not it's the intention, it comes across as caring about getting the national audience than answers to your community, which I don't know, because it is important to get it out to a national audience. I mean, I get what she's saying, but the whole point is to get it out as far reach as you can. But I do feel like some of that stuff, it should be that the local reporters are getting the information probably first or up front, or getting, they're there in person. I don't know. I mean, I guess I can kind of, but they're pissed. They're not happy. Local reporters aren't just members of the media, they're members of your community. Idaho outlets have reporters who know Moscow, went to U of I, even knew the victims as kids, talked to us, talked to the, so I guess that's, I don't know what that is. Oh, students, okay. Not Inside Edition. So they're hot. I guess they're upset about who is this their actual reporter or is that somebody? Okay, local government breaking news. So they're upset. News Nation got the information. Inside Edition, but I mean, I don't know. Those people have connects, and those people have people all over the place in different states, and I'm sure they have different kinds of pull. What do you guys think in the chat? Thank you, Stacy. Stacy says Boise. What do you guys think in the chat? I don't know. The other thing too, so one of the reporters got canceled. You remember the other day we were watching the press conference and there was one guy that was kind of laughing, I guess, before it started. I don't know if it was a hot mic moment. Local media personality John Webb appears to be laughing repeatedly before Moscow, Idaho police press conference of 4 murdered University of Idaho students. Disgusting. I always think about like how sometimes I'm live streaming and things could be misconstrued sometimes, or like sometimes I'm looking at something in the chat or text message and I laugh, and at the same time it's a horrible moment, what's on the screen or something like that. But I mean, I don't know. If I was there in person, I'd probably keep quiet or to myself, or I don't know. A local media personality, John Webb, was seen repeatedly laughing at a Moscow Police Department press conference where information regarding the gruesome murder of 4 young students was disseminated to the public. Other journalists are seen chuckling before officials entered the room. It almost reminds me of like those, I know I probably shouldn't say it, those people that were, all those political people that were talking about the mask, and you're a horrible person if you don't, and you see them without their mask, and right as the camera turns on, they're like, oh, they're just putting it on, they don't have the things on themselves. So they were caught off camera a couple of times. Kind of not really the same analogy, but it just made me think about that. Let's see. And they clipped it too. Let's see. He's looking at a text or something. This is reporter beef? I didn't know the reporters were beefing and stuff. I guess they have reporter journalist beef.
Before we start, super quick, anybody need the Wi-Fi password? Okay, so...
I don't know, man. People are just people, though, man, because it's really hard to kind of like judge or whatever, because I've had even like family interviews, and we'll have moments, even though we're talking about a serious situation, we'll have moments where we kind of chuckle or laugh. Like even the parent, I remember, well, I won't even keep going into there, but I've had moments like that with people, and I've had people attack the parents or family members just for like chuckling or just having a moment, or sometimes this is not nervous laughter, obviously, but it says here, one social media user said Webb was more enamored about the high profile exposure of the case than the victims. Others expressed they were bothered by the lack of reverence, while one social media user called the demeanor of journalists bizarre. Webb recently took to Facebook to announce KHQ's new nonstop local digital news brand. From now on, that will be our name as we push forward into the digital era, says Webb, adding that more details to come out about our big plan within the next few days, and we're glad you're sticking with us in the new chapter. Damn, bro, they really put this guy out there. Wait, which journalist? Who wrote this article too? Oh, Johnston Meadows. I thought it was kind of interesting because I ran into this and I was like, damn, these people really gunning for each other. Kind of unrelated, but still somewhat related, Webb was also said to have been overheard at the scene of the crime, reportedly having an inappropriate demeanor in between news broadcasts, though we were not able to corroborate these reports. Oh, boy. Okay. Another thing, we're almost at the end here. Oh, we already covered this too. And this is the same. I think it's the guy that was canceled. That's him right there, John Webb. I was just with the chief James Fry, I asked him if the victims were bound and gagged. He said, it was not a hostage situation. There's nothing that would lead us to believe anything like that. I asked if he thinks they were killed in their sleep. He said yes. I asked him to elaborate more on why they believe it was a targeted attack. He said, we look at the totality of things. We look at the facts we know from the crime scene, and then we make a formulated decision at that point. All right. I think we can let's do the calls. Let's take some calls. Let me open up the lines. And if you guys could hit like, please, or share, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, I'd appreciate that. Let me open up the connect here. Can't do anything right. The other day, man, I was mixing up people's names too. I was literally mixing up ex-member Kevin and ex-member Anthony from AWP. Like, I've recently have just gotten so many different people's phone numbers and connections, and I was just talking to so many people throughout the week that I was like, at one point I was talking to Kevin for like 10 minutes in, and then I called him Anthony. He's like, no, you got the wrong. I was like, oh, sure, my bad. Okay, let me call in here. And the phone number is, wow, Google Chrome is freezing. There we go. Okay. 954-787-3009. We'll put it in the chat.
Thank you for calling Collins Studios.
Okay. All right. So let me take these. Need ginseng in your tea? I know. I actually started taking I can't even remember the name. I need something from memory. I was taking. Actually, it is ginseng. I think it's ginseng that I've been taking. 949. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Oh, hello.
Hi.
I'm calling from California. Oh, here, I'll mute the chat. That way it's not echoing.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
please. Thank
Okay.
you.
So I just wanted to call in and say thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your efforts in pushing this case forward and making sure that
Thank you.
these questions are answered. It means a lot for all of us, I think, just with all the stuff that's been going on, and especially with, the tragedy of this event and all that. But, with my experience of being at a college campus and, knowing about these party houses, I think the best advice that I can give is knowing about how the ins and outs of these party houses would be at, and just me and my friends getting there and back would be, it was really easy, but also really hectic at the same time. So it would be we knew the code to get in, we knew exactly what to do, but we would know which place to go. We would know what friend's room to go to. And I think that's kind of important in this case, and I think that's why people are keeping it very classified, is because there might be people who are coming in and out, but who knows? And, I think there's a lot of questions out there still. And so I think that's why I just called in. I just wanted to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate that.
I'm a huge fan, so
Awesome.
that's really it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You so much.
Have you ever had any bad experiences? In your, I don't know if she hung up. Oh, there you're there. Yeah, just your college days. You want to share one?
I actually haven't, but I have had a experience with somebody who you actually might have heard of. His name is Sam Woodward, and there's another case going on in California that you can look up, and it has to do with, I don't know if you can search it up, but it has to do with another murderer. And it's a whole different case, but I basically sat behind a convicted murderer and yeah, it's been kind of crazy. And I just remember like thinking that this guy was very like out of his mind. It was really weird. And I can't really give much info about it because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to give the wrong tune or anything. But there was a lot about my experience with this person, and so just making that be heard is just enough for me to say that I'm like going into my next phase of law school, and I'm really studying for the sake of justice and for the sake of making our world a better place. I would really love for all of us to come together and create this whole environment where justice is properly served. So thank you so much for creating this platform for us where we can call in and, provide everyone with the right information.
Thank you. I appreciate that and the support. Thanks for calling.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
You take care now.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too. Thanks. Nice call. when I have a chance, I'm gonna put the GoFundMe's in the description. Jazz is putting it in the chat. Let me take the next caller, 248. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Hi. Oh. Hi. How you doing?
Hi, Mel.
Horrible timing, but how you doing? We'll keep it serious.
I've been watching the chat, yeah.
Yep.
This kind of hits a little close to home for me. I have a niece that was attending college in the UP of Michigan, at Michigan Tech, and she was up there all alone. Hours, like 6-8 hours from home, and this just brings it close because I always used to ask my sister, is she all right? How is she doing? And it's just crazy when kids are far away from home, and then to have this happen where, kids going to that university are not necessarily close, and how they had said a lot of the kids went home for Thanksgiving early. It's truly a mystery, and everything you've put out there is everything that I can find online, so I do appreciate that.
Thanks, Lori.
But, it's just like, where do you go from that information? There's not too many places to go in hearing that they've interviewed this person and that person and ex-boyfriends and boyfriends, and what about the two that were left?
Yeah, they said they spoke to them. Mm-hmm.
Right. It was like my sister and brother-in-law actually owned the home that my niece was staying in up there as like a house that kids who went to the college could stay in. And so, yeah, that just is a really big eye-opener as to her being up there alone. But she is graduated at home now, and they've actually sold the place. But that's crazy. This whole thing is really mysterious, and then just horrific in perhaps the way they were found, not only stabbed, but brutally.
Gotta be traumatizing for the family, the friends, the roommates that are there.
Oh my goodness, yeah. It's unbelievable. But I wanted to let you know I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Going through the effort and getting all the information that is out there for us to see. It's all basically speculation now.
Right.
Because where do you go from here? And I'm thinking whoever did this and took off, say out the back door, is still in the community, and
I think so too.
I'll be so very, very careful and cautious, and look for clues. Yeah, like discarded clothing or blood drippings, or I mean, just anything to try and track this person down.
They got to be watching too. That whoever that is, I'm sure they're watching all the news reports, staying up to date. They're probably watching every day.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Most likely they are.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, staying like hidden, and I mean, it's just crazy. I don't know if it was jealousy or anything like that, but it's just all very strange, the happenings, and there's got to be some kind of clue somewhere. I mean, there just has to be. They haven't found it yet.
Yeah, because this person is like, you know, who does this person live with? Like, do they have family? Do they have friends? Or is it another college person? Are they staying with other roommates? Has nobody seen this person that did this? You know, it's got to be a lot of blood. Like, this person's, I don't know. Somebody's had to have seen this guy.
I would think there's got to be some clue somewhere that's going to lead to this person, and hopefully they find it soon. So thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
I'm always listening and watching, and everyone have a good night. Have a good night.
Thank you, Lorette. All right, take care. Bye. 813. Let me take this call. 813. How you doing? Where you calling from? Thank you for holding too.
Hey, no problem, Mel. How are you?
Good. How you doing? Who's this?
Good. I actually followed you for a while. Second time caller. I called during the whole Brian Laundrie thing way back when, and it's my second time calling in. I jotted down some notes just from things that I don't know if I missed in some of your coverage, so wanted to get your thoughts on them.
Sure.
The first one is, I don't know if anyone's mentioned, or when we watched the food truck tapes, the guy says welcome back when they come up. Did you mention that, or do you hear that? Has anyone talked about that? Like they were there before?
I heard people, or I saw people in the comment section talk about that. We would have to listen to it again. Do you know the timestamp of that maybe, or?
Oh, it's right when they come around the corner and break away from the creepy guy and go right to make the order. He's like, oh, welcome back. And then he goes into that kind of flirting that people were accusing him of flirting, you know, a little bit, but it's immediately when they come up to order.
Okay. I'm going to pull up when I have a chance, I'm going to pull it up and see if we can listen to it. And what do you gather from that?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that specifically?
No, it's just maybe for time too. And was that guy with him at that time? Like if they came twice, I think that would be, you know, relevant on some level, you know,
right.
That is the guy with him then. And I also had another kind of theory on that. Like if he was with them at the bar or wherever they were party before, I think it was a bar, and he got kicked out, assumed they'd get kicked out. It looked like when he came, like everyone's saying he came with them. It looked like it might have been like he might have been hitting on them at there, and they had no interest in him. This is just my take on
the video. Right.
Body language. And then as soon as they go to order, he backs away. He lurks back there. They never go and talk to him again. It's like they know he followed them there from where that was. Then it's like a nervous thing where he talks to the guy in the beard. You know, it's like a nervous, let's talk to somebody else because I'm just lurking in the background, not talking to anybody. And then he might have even said to that guy, you know how guys talk, they might be like, oh yeah, I was talking to those two girls at the bar. And then he points as they leave, and that's when he goes. That's just my take on it, where I don't think he came with them. I think it might have been like that situation I just said. And to kind of just end that section, she takes a picture, and I don't know if she's taking a picture of her food or if it looked like she took a selfie with him behind her, kind of like this guy's behind me when she held her camera up.
I don't know.
I don't know if anyone mentioned that either.
The thing, so let's see. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. It could be of her friend. It could be of herself, or she does kind of pivot a little bit. So this guy, the white hoodie, the police have said through reporters, we're getting the information that they've spoken to him. And
right.
So I guess they're saying he's not a suspect at this time. And well, the interesting thing too is one of the video clips that we showed. They said, I believe that this guy was at the club also, the corner place or whatever. And the other interesting thing is, let's see if I can find that screenshot. Because they were talking about this earlier before it even came out on Reddit. This is what I've told people sometimes, that like you'll get information before it's even out on Reddit. But you know, you have to
Right.
you have
I heard
to take
you
things with
saying
a
that
grain
earlier.
of you have to take things with a grain of salt. But they had mentioned this, as we were talking about earlier. This looks like Jack. Well, they said it looks like Jack, but maybe it's not even Jack or whatever. You know, I don't know. They've been dubbing him on the media as the white hoodie guy. Maybe they were referring to an ex, but this wasn't the ex in the white hoodie. But it says, which means he owns hunting knives. If he really was kicked out of the corner club that same night for being creepy, I gotta go read this whole thread to get context. Then he's definitely someone cops need to talk to, which they have. His mannerisms in the video are just off, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if that's true, if he was really kicked out or not, but what stuck out now is the corner club. So I don't know if this guy just tagged along with them from the club, and because that's the vibe that I got that you were talking about. And I even talked to Kevin about this, that it could seem like he was kind of just tagging along, and I don't know, showed up there, but the girls weren't really paying him attention. And I think he even told the other guy with the beard, he made it seem like he was with them, and maybe he thought he was, or maybe I don't know. I don't know if he was just one of those people that kind of tag along with chicks and they don't really want to be with you, and you're just kind of like this awkward person there.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen guys like that too. And so they just left his ass there, and it seemed he was kind of like, what the hell, whatever, you know. So
Right. Well, those are my 2 points on that, and then I just got 2 quick ones on the house.
Sure.
They had the one specialist guy. I forgot which one it was. There's been a bunch on in an interview, said that, you know, with the knife, it could have been so swift that there'd be no time for screaming. But then you're saying like one girl at least had defensive wounds, and the family said she fought for her life. She fought for her life in silence? Like, I mean, yeah, I get it. Like if they were all sleeping, he went to each room and did this like a movie, like Liam Neeson and like, you know, like Taken.
Right.
Like and if it's just some normal guy, like a student or just some, you know, like this, it seems so methodical. And to pass 2 rooms in a big house like that and go to specific rooms, which it sounds like if it's targeted, he has to know the inside of the house. Like it just.
Right. I agree with you on that. Has to know the inside, it seems like to me. It can't be just random. But I wonder if you go for the neck first, and I really am sorry if there's any, I don't know, friends or anything like that. I'm trying to be like mindful of what I say.
Right.
But,
I don't mean right.
Yeah, but like I would think if you do that to somebody's neck, I don't know if you could really talk. That's what one of the people were saying. But maybe you could fight for yourself, but maybe you couldn't talk. I don't know. It's all strange because they did talk about the defensive wounds. They couldn't say who was in bed and who wasn't. So it appears that not everybody was in bed. So it makes me wonder, like you're saying, maybe did somebody get up or something at one point? And then now we're also hearing in these video clips that according to this other guy, I don't know, it's the first time I'm hearing it, that supposedly the surviving roommates had heard noise, but that it was just, they thought it was just like partying or something, or so. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and before my last topic, I apologize for if I got a little like my mind was just going to my thoughts. Okay. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? So like if one was the boyfriend and the girlfriend, I'm assuming they were in the same bed. So if something was happening, you would think like right next to you, like then that could be screams coming from the other person, because I wouldn't think unless someone passed out and they were, you know, the girlfriend and boyfriend weren't in the same bed. That's the other thing I was thinking of too, that 2 had to be in the same bed, and from what I
would think so too.
You know, thinking. And then lastly, is it normal? I mean, you've covered so many. Is it normal, and what protects the investigation by not saying who called 911? Like, how does that protect? Like, I don't understand.
That whole 911 thing too. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Like I could understand maybe why they wouldn't release the 911 call, I guess, but like you're saying, why not the person's name? Like, I guess what's the reasoning behind that? Yeah, I don't know. And it's not the roommates.
Yeah.
And some multiple reports said it was a friend, but I don't know. Are they afraid that people are going to look into the friend or go for the friend, or like, yeah, I don't know. Why not say who's the person that actually called 911?
Yeah, like
Protects the caller.
stories like this, they're tragic, and it's so hard to hear and just kind of wrap your brain around. But then to have the unanswered questions just adds to it, and it's like it just snowballs into just then the people out there which you've encountered who will then just make everything up and have their own agenda and like accuse people and do things like that. Like if more information was out, that would help. But at the same time, they must have a reason. But us in the public, we don't know the reason because it doesn't make sense. So it's
Right,
like a
right.
never-ending cycle.
And I don't think cops have much, to be honest with you. Like I don't think
Yeah,
they're.
it sounds like it.
I don't think they got shit, really. I mean, I know they're withholding stuff, obviously, about the crime scene and all that, but I don't, like, as far as suspects, maybe they have some sort of suspicions, maybe, but I don't think they have much.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
scary
either
thing.
they don't have much or they have a lot and something's going to be going down soon because they're not tipping their cards and, something's going to come out soon, or else, because kind of like with the scene, like people said, like there's got to be a trail of, the person leaving the house with that much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that was going on, what they walked through. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
of course. Like the blood.
there's
Yeah,
gotta be.
people were talking about that, and they were saying, I guess he would have exited the sliding door, maybe gone in and out of the
Right.
sliding door, and so
Yeah.
But that sliding door leads to a remote area, and the thing is too,
Yeah,
like, does the guy just walk there? I don't know how far this person or close this person is. Did he just walk there and plan this out, or was he stalking the area and then he just walked home or whatever? Or it's got to be somebody that's local in that area. I'm thinking.
And I think you might have said it. I think other people have said it, like maybe he was in the home already waiting for them, but the two other roommates were there. So were they already asleep and he was in the house hiding behind a couch like in a movie? Like, so just all these, so many questions. It's like, hopefully we get some answers soon and obviously closure for the family and get the person off the streets because, and again, lastly, because I'm thinking about it, for them to say I don't care if they make a mistake, like everyone makes mistakes, but for the police to say that there's no danger to the public because it was isolated. And I think at one point the officer said, well, nothing was done at the apartments next to them. I'm like, this guy just did what he did in one apartment because he didn't do it in other apartments. Nobody else is in danger. It made zero sense to me. Zero.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know if they're trying to like keep the public calm, but like, I don't know, man, like we really don't know the situation of this, and like I would say the public's probably not safe. Everybody needs to be cautious, and they kind of backpedaled it a bit after,
sure,
because a lot of people were kind of upset. So, all right, man. Well,
All
thank
right,
you
my
so
man.
much. Appreciate the call and the questions.
Thank you. Really quick, I want to just say I respect everything that happened with the Kylie Rodney thing with the certain country singer. I respect your how you held it all in, and I mean you could have really unleashed, but I respect
Thank you, man.
how you
I
handled
appreciate
that. I
that.
just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, you mentioning that, man.
All right, maybe
All
it'll be
right, take
another
care.
6 months to a year. I'll talk to you.
All right, thanks, man. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, let me get this next caller. 609. They've been holding for a little while. 609, how you doing? Where you calling from? 609.
Hello?
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Good, good. Welcome.
Can you hear me okay? I'm sorry, I'm on a voice.
Yeah, I hear you good.
All right, perfect. I had a quick question. I'm not sure because I logged on and I didn't hear the whole show yet, but did they, I guess everybody keeps asking about who called 911,
Yeah.
the murders.
Yeah, they said it was a friend, but
I'm not sure if this is correct, but like earlier I was kind of like just going back and forth, seeing different streams on Reddit and even on YouTube, and there was this one particular show where one of these YouTubers, ex-cop, whatever, he was talking about it, and someone in the chat was commenting on it, and yeah, again, it could be a lie, it could be BS, whatever, but they mentioned that they reside in the area, whatever, and they heard from like a police source that the person that had called the 911 was one of the boyfriends or friends of one of the females that was upstairs. So supposedly they say that the girl, they woke up like at noon or whatever, and I guess she went downstairs and saw something weird. They didn't say specifically what she saw, just something that really, really scared her. So she called her boyfriend or her friend, and they came over, and they're the ones that called the 911. So again, it could be BS, just, you know, but I mean, it would make sense why someone called so late, if it's true.
Right.
But again, I mean, it could be somebody just like, you know, commenting in the comments, BS. But like, I mean, if it was true, it is something that the cops wouldn't, you know, the police wouldn't release because they wouldn't want, you know, like people speculating, kind of like they're speculating about the girls.
Right.
And they're asking, oh, you know, how were they there? Did they hear anything? You know, did they have something to do with it? You know, just kind of like snowball, like the previous caller said. You know, they just release. It's like, well, it was the boyfriend or friend of one of the females. Then everybody start asking, like, oh, well, you know, why did it wait to 12? Why was he there? What else does he know? And, you know, like, a lot of these people, like, doing their own investigations, then they might kind of, like, you know, start investigating him or going at him. And you already see what happens when that, you know, when you start doing that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I appreciate the call. I was kind of reading this thing, too, about, I was trying to see about the father of Kernodle. He was talking about the speculation, but I don't know. I've seen people saying all kinds of things because they were like, oh, I don't know, giving people tips or like blaming them for drinking or I don't know, or letting them out. I mean, but these are college kids, man. I had some crazy ass stories myself. There's no judgment at all, whether they were drinking or not or anything. And I think I even saw something where, because I know, and I understand people are going to think they're wondering, they're trying to get to the answers, but I saw one thing too where people were thinking maybe it was like a drug deal gone wrong, but I think even officially they said it had nothing to do with like drugs or something like that. You know, and I saw the parents, I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was Ethan's parents or somebody had made this. Yeah, I think it was Ethan's parents. They had said that this has nothing to do with drugs.
Yeah, that sounds weird if it did. It just, you know, from the video at the taco, you know, truck. And again, this is just me speculating. I mean, you can kind of look over the video.
Here it is. Yeah.
Yourself.
They literally say right here, Chapin's parents, Stacy and Jim, that drugs or a love triangle were not involved in the murders. So.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's that at all. There just two other things I wanted to comment on regarding what they said in regards to kind of like the posted. They're saying the crime item used was a knife, and them saying it's kind of has most of the time it's like a personal thing when someone uses a knife. I mean, you know, a lot of officers, I think, will tell you that, investigators, that you know, someone who uses that type of weapon usually is someone, you know, kind of like who has personal vendetta against it. Again, you know, just saying, not saying that's what it was. But
I think it's personal too. That's my opinion for sure. I think some sort of, or for some reason, whoever it is was really angry for whatever reason. And I'm curious too about the stalker thing, like they've mentioned, which I'm sure maybe they could probably get the name and investigate him. You know, police.
Have you talked about that? Just like kind of logged off and just logged back on.
There was a video clip that I played, and all the guy mentioned was that there was this Kaylee, I believe, had a stalker. I don't know if it was like 2 months ago, I think he said, but didn't really say specifics on the situation.
Okay. All right, cool. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got other callers. You want to say, you know, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Appreciate you. I've been following your lives. Very nice how, you know, you kind of take the time, and it's nice to get a bit of information from like different sources.
Yeah,
you know, kind of like the news is very effective, and not only tell you, you know, a certain amount of things, but you know, you kind of do your research, and you know,
thank you, man.
Kind of give out a lot more. But thank you. Keep doing your thing.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for calling. All right, take care.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks. All right, we got a couple more people. 309. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Gypsy.
Jesse from the chat?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey, what's up? Welcome. Are you on Discord too?
What's up? I'm not on Discord,
Oh, okay,
no.
Okay. I think it was a different Jesse.
But Gypsy on Twitter, Gypsy from chat.
Oh, okay.
You know
okay.
who I am.
Yes. How's it going?
First of all, congrats on 150 subs.
Thank you.
Second
Thank you
of
so
all,
much.
You have the best mod.
Yeah, those people, they're really good.
Like I literally like F with them hardcore on Twitter, like all day long.
They're really good. Yeah, thank you.
They are awesome. They're great. Just a couple things real quick, and I talk fast, so I can rattle this stuff off quick. The 911 caller, I'm not old enough to have a child that would be in their 20s or 21, but my God, if I did, I would do everything.
Oh, Gypsy. You said, sorry, you said Gypsy. Okay.
Yeah, Gypsy.
Okay, I don't know why I kept hearing Justine. Yes, I know who you are. I see you all the time on Twitter and on chat. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. And go ahead.
But anyway, yeah, the 911 caller, I would be doing, I mean, even if I was the parent of the 911 caller, which obviously I'm sure that they are an adult, but I would be doing everything I could to make sure that their identity was not released, just because if you look at the Kylie Rodney case, the people that went after Sammy, and listen, I'm not sitting here saying I didn't say shit about Sammy, because I did, or just the Debbie Collier case, the people that went after Amanda, and I really don't think the 911 caller had anything to do with anything. They know exactly who it is. They've made that perfectly clear for the past 4.5 days, 5 days. Okay, statistically speaking, and this is just statistically, it doesn't mean anything, but I work as a paralegal. I work for a criminal lawyer. That's what I do for a living. And statistically speaking, this crime would have occurred. It would have been a male that did it, and it would have been him by himself. That's just statistics. That doesn't mean that's what happened.
Right.
But like, if we're going to put statistics into the puzzle here, which I think is a good thing to use for if you're going to speculate, then that's a good thing to go off of. Which you said too that you think it's one person. I do too.
Yeah.
The coroner has said she thinks it's one. She's kind of come off and on it about how she thinks it's one knife. If it's not the same knife, then it's two knives that are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Xana was the one whose father, just to clear it up in chat, Xana is the one whose father said that she had it's not confirmed by law enforcement as far as I've seen, and I'm sure chat will correct me if I'm wrong, but he's the father that said, my daughter fought back. She had, I believe he used the terms bruising or something, saying that she fought back. Now, Xana is Ethan's, I know you know this, just for chat. Xana is Ethan's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan's parents, Ethan is the triplet, just for chat, like I said. The parents of Ethan said he was asleep in bed with his girlfriend at his girlfriend's home, aka so he was then one of the ones in bed, if not all of them were found in bed. And then you said something that honestly I hadn't thought about, and you said it, I think you said it today, it might have been yesterday, but about that, the code being, like they might have a chip in that code to see when it was accessed, if it was accessed.
I was wondering, yeah.
Because here's the thing. They said the door was open. So, and I'm assuming that's how the dog got out.
So, yeah, the slider door.
But are they saying the slider door? No,
so
they're saying he got into the slider door. But do you think it's the slider door that was left open as well?
Well, so here's the thing, because we talked about this in the stream earlier. I'm going to read this little section to you. There was a lot of confusion about that. So this part here says, every time you go, you have to go around the house because of the number code. So either they knew that or went around and maybe found the slider door open. Mr. Kernodle said, I think it was midnight the last time we heard from her. She was fine. And so there was a couple of links that I had in the other stream today where the reporter had said that I believe it was the slider door that was open when the police arrived.
Oh, like still when the police got there?
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe he exited out of the front door.
So that's possible, but the slider, they were saying they believe it was the slider.
Yeah, I heard them say.
But he could. That's the thing.
For a fact, they're saying they think he entered that way.
Yeah, because I was like, he either, I guess, went through the front and went out through the back, or went through the back and came out through the back, or I don't know. But that code too.
The only thing is,
They said that code. A lot of people had that code. One of the news videos that we saw
Yeah,
earlier.
they did say that.
Mhm.
Yeah, they said a ton of people had it, which I live in a small town. I live in an even smaller town than that. And I've got quote unquote brothers. I mean, like people that they might as well be my brothers if we're not like actually blood related. I know the codes to get into their apartment complexes. Like, I mean, I could rattle them off right now. Of course I won't, but you know what I mean? Like, and I'm one of probably 15 people that know that, and I'm in my 30s. We are going to these apartments to party. We're going to these apartments to have dinner. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if it's a party house, and I'm sure a ton of people had that. I would speculate that since some of the girls have this code was even the same as it was the year before.
I wonder. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you never know.
Yeah, that. And somebody in the chat said it could have been the 911 caller that maybe opened the sliding door. Maybe that person. Maybe that's the normal way people go to that place, and they came. Or well, somebody else had said that supposedly the girl, one of the survivors, called their boyfriend over. So I don't.
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't know which is which, but it's possible somebody could have came back there and opened it and then called 911, or that the killer left out the back.
I just really hope that, and I mean, this is terrible to say because you're a parent, you know, you're going to want to believe your kid about everything. You're never going to want to think your kid can do something like this. But I really hope, because 9 times out of 10, especially the coroner has said twice in published reports, 2 times in published verified reports, that all victims were stabbed multiple times. And even with the K-bar knife that has a gripper on it, and it's like a 7-inch long blade, to stab somebody like that so ferociously, and not just somebody, but 4 somebodies, usually you would have a cut to the hand. And then with Dana's dad saying that she fought back, I don't think she was the only one that. All they have to do is get DNA under somebody's fingernails. Like, I really hope she fucking clawed her. Sorry for my bad language. She clawed some skin cells. You know what I'm saying? Like, because listen to me, Mel and chat. If you're ever in that situation and you don't think you're gonna make it out alive, get those skin cells underneath your fingernails. That's the only thing.
I think they've solved crimes like that from the person, even though they got killed fighting back.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. That's one of my cousin was murdered, and we're going to trial in January, and it's part of evidence. But
was your cousin ever found? I vaguely, I know you DM me.
No, he wasn't.
Wow.
No, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it off stream, so I don't take any more of your time up. He was not found. He was murdered. There wasn't enough blood. There's too much blood loss.
Something with a shed or no?
Sustain life.
So was there
Say that again?
Was there something involving a shed too, or something like that, or no?
It was inside a storage unit.
Oh, storage unit. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
you're
yeah,
close.
we'll talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I've sent you the article.
Okay.
It would have been a long time ago, though.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll talk to you about it offline. But yeah, no, I just wanted to call in, say hi, since we never spoke.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Voice to voice.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
Tell your chat how much I love them because I F with them on a regular basis. I just put my 2 cents in.
I appreciate it. I always appreciate you providing information in the chat and like correcting things and giving updates. So thank you for that.
Of course, I try. I do my best.
Thank you. All right, Gypsy. Well, thanks. Take care. We'll talk.
Mel.
All right. Good night.
You too, hon. Bye.
Bye. Okay, next one. 509. How you doing? Where are you calling from?
Spokane, Washington.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for calling.
Pretty good. I have a statement and a question.
Okay.
Number one, I hope that people are realizing by open, they don't mean the door was open. It was unlocked.
Oh,
probably,
unlocked.
Because it's below freezing around here.
Oh, we should
and
get.
nobody
We
would
can
leave
get
their door open this time of night.
Huh? Maybe unlocked. It'd be nice if we can get clarification. Probably unlocked.
Instead of just being open.
They definitely said there was no
just
forced entry.
Yeah. And if you leave it unlocked, there wouldn't be. But like I said,
yeah, true.
It's been below freezing around here. And the other question was, I have never ridden in an Uber. So when you order an Uber, do you text in the address you're going to, or do you talk to them and tell them the address?
So you can either type it, or like now they do a thing where you just I think you press my location and it'll just pull up your location on the app.
Okay, because I was wondering if maybe somebody heard her around there, if she was stating what address they were going from and to.
No, you
when
don't
she
have
called an Uber.
to. You don't have to
Okay.
say it out loud.
Okay, that was a question I had.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate
And
you
I
calling.
just started watching you recently.
Oh, well,
I just started
welcome.
watching you recently when you did the thing with No Mark Experience, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. Yeah, really nice guy. Good guy. I like him.
Yeah, and I've been
Thank you
waiting
so
to hear
much.
his comment, so I was glad to see you put it out there.
He's been on twice now. We did another stream the other day. I don't know if you saw that one.
Actually, I think I've been on more than that.
Okay.
And I've also passed you on to other people to watch too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Thanks.
thank you.
Take care.
Goodbye.
Bye. Next caller. I'm going to pull up some things in the meantime, too. 720. Thank you for holding. Where are you calling from?
Hi, are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you. Hey,
Okay, sorry. This is
You're
my
good.
first time doing this, so I didn't know.
welcome.
You might have talked about this already, and I'm not sure if you want to talk about it, but did you see the Sarah Osborne stuff on Reddit?
Sarah Osborne. No.
Okay, so, and sorry if I have a list. I have lightning strips on right now. I was not planning to call. But I made a TikTok about this whole thing, and I got a comment from someone telling me to check out an Instagram account under the name of, I think it was Sarah Osborne 184. And they were making a movie. Have you not heard of this? It's like really big on the, I feel crazy right now.
No,
it's
it's
really
okay.
big on the Reddit page.
No.
Let me pull up the screenshot. So the comment was, everyone check out this Instagram, Sarah Osborne 184, super creepy, too many coincidences, do a deep dive, you'll see. So I went over to the Instagram, and on May 13th, this account posted a photo, and it was like, okay, I have a serious question. My cousin wants to make a movie with these girls. It's going to be called Killing the Clones. In the movie, he's going to have her kill, or he's going to kill all these clones and their creators, whether it's strangle, blah, 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 or stab. Then he says some other unrelated stuff that I don't need to say right now. Then there was another post after that, like, please, anyone give me ideas on what I should do in this movie.
Is this
like a bunch of
anything
weird
related
posts,
to
like,
the topic? Like with this?
this is, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So this account has been following all of the victims.
Oh, really?
And yes, and Ethan is private, and they're following Ethan. So I don't know if he was private after the fact or before, but that would mean that this person was involved in that group in some way if they had accepted that, or if Ethan had accepted the follow request. And then on the day they passed away, there was another post from this account saying, here's my movie about killing the clones, and they posted something on YouTube. But I guess that this account had been commenting after the fact, after everyone had died, a bunch of like hateful stuff on all of the girls' posts. Yeah, so it's like, I kind of assumed people knew about it because I'm getting a lot of comments about it on TikTok, but it's kind of confusing to explain if you don't know about it, so I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, I was kind of browsing the comments. I don't see it, but I'll probably take a look at it. It's the first time I'm hearing about that.
Yeah, look it up. I won't stay on. Sorry if this got a little confusing, but just look up the name Sarah Osborne 184 in Reddit, and you'll see an entire
Okay.
thread.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. I'll take a look at that. I'll see if I pull up anything. I wasn't sure. At first, I thought they were maybe trolling or something, but I'll take a look and see. 870, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from Arkansas. Thank you so much for
Hey.
taking my call.
Thank you. No problem. Welcome.
So my name's My name is Jennifer. Thank you so much. First of all, I just wanted to give you props. You showed up on the scene, and you are just blazing new trails. And
Thank you.
all of us out here who love top-notch quality content,
Thank you.
which this is the kicker, without all of the emotion. There is a lot of content creators out there that do cover the things that we want to see, but you really do go above and beyond and keep yourself at peace so that we can really hear the information. And I just wanted to give you props for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Secondly, I just wanted to talk to your chat room for just a moment. I'd like every single one of the people that are in the chat room to really take a good, hard look at these 4 babies. And if you could throw a picture up there, I would really appreciate it.
Let me,
You know, we find ourselves hearing about these crimes and we become numb to them. We start researching these people's background and we look for every single little thing that they've ever done wrong to maybe bring this on themselves. And we tear all the lives apart. And you know what? We've done so much of it that we've forgotten the humanity of it. These are real people. And some of the stuff that happens in your chat is, I just really think that it is missing that humanity. And for you to be such a good creator and to have people showing up in your chat talking about that a caller sound like a sex worker, that another caller's voice was annoying. Do you understand that people have carved out portions of their night to be a part of helping to solve this? You're making fun of people who may be so brilliant they find the one clue that is needed. So I would just like all of you to have a seat again and look at these babies. And thank you so much for letting me do that.
Thank
I
you.
really
Appreciate it.
want all of us to think pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, and this specific age group. It is rampant. They did not recover, none of them. You've got a few young people who kind of had it together, and then the pandemic hit, and they didn't recover. Now you add those who did not have it together. I really think that there's a possibility someone was already in this home. The doors were already unlocked. Just today, I heard John Tyson from the CFO for Tyson Foods was found completely incapacitated in a stranger's home in Fayetteville. You know, it's not absurd to think that you're able to get into college town homes, and the pandemic wasn't scary enough for them to lock that door. Someone was already in that home. They waited for them to go to sleep. I don't know how they made it between all of those rooms, but I tell you, I'm ex-military, and to be able to do it with such precision and not leave blood everywhere, regardless if it went through the mattress, it's just not everyday Joe can do that. I think that it's really frustrating that when these things happen, that there isn't some massive database that comes out and shows us all the cameras that are local, all of the bars that were local that were recording everybody there. Too much time passes and too few people are looking at it. There are people out in the internet world that can solve these crimes, and it is a waste of time to only have certain entities working them. And that is why it takes so long for us to find the answer. And the next time, and this is my word of encouragement for everyone here, you literally do not know who you're interacting with. It may seem like an everyday Joe that you've seen 20 times at the gas station. He did not recover from the pandemic. Hell, I barely did, and I'm a pretty intelligent person. Remember, when you find yourself in these road rage incidents, look in the back seat and look at the babies that are with you. They're dying like every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I
and
appreciate
remember
the
the
call.
humanity.
All right. Thanks.
Okay,
Take care.
appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for that call. one more person. I think some people hung up. 910. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey, Ick, how are you? It's
Good.
Vinshine.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good. Second.
Welcome.
Hey, man. Gosh, I guess I'm a third-time caller, but it's been a while. And hey, I tell you, I'm very new to this whole thing. I didn't even know about it until you came up in the feed. And so I'm going to probably ask a couple of dumb questions. Maybe some other people might just be joining the whole thing too. But so there's 4 of them, and the theory is whoever did it took all 4 of them out overnight while they were sleeping and did it with a sharp object that, or somewhat of a sharp object. Is that the running theory now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I believe that it's one person, but they said they're looking at any possibility it could be multiple people. But yeah, some of them were in their bed, and it's possible that whoever this was came there, and it's reported that they were stabbed multiple times. It was like one lethal one to the upper body, and then there was just other stab marks or wounds after. And I mean, there's not much. I mean, it's been kind of a roller coaster because people were thinking the food truck, because we seen him at the food truck on video, and then police found the white hoodie guy, and so now they're saying it. I think it was Kaylee allegedly had some stalker like 2 months ago. So I mean,
right.
And this guy's still on. Nobody's caught him. No weapon found.
And when did this take place?
This was on early Sunday morning hours at the house.
Sunday morning. Okay. So it's been about five days now, and there's still no leads, or the police are being real quiet. I noticed they are kind of being quiet. The press conference that I saw, everybody was kind of frustrated because they're not giving out any details, and the local press are really trying to get some kind of answers because, like this channel, there's thousands of super sleuths who are ready to piece it together through social media and through all the skills, and there's nothing like crowdsourcing for these kind of crimes,
Yeah, well, the other day I had seen that these people, I'll see if I can find I probably can't find it now. From the food truck video, people were matching these kids' sneakers, and they were aligning the kids that had the same sneakers and saying there's some sort of connection based off of the sneakers. I was kind of like shaking my head, but it's a common sneaker, those Nike sneakers out there. So I don't know. People are kind of trying to tie everything together.
Yeah, gotcha. So now, I'm just going to ask if anyone in the channel has a link to where a lot of this stuff is in one place, so other people can, like me, who are kind of new to it, can find it. Keep your channel up and running with you talking, and try to find some other things and maybe submit to your channel. I'm also on the Twitch channel over there. I think I'm the only one. Hey, come on over to Twitch, but. But I'm glad you're on there. I don't know much about the YouTube live stream as far as posting links. Can you post links in the YouTube stream,
I
chat?
can, yeah. I'm going to make a playlist tonight for this story so that people can just click my playlist and so they know where to go for all the information. We also have Discord. So if you kind of like the community base, we have Discord. It's a really nice server. You can join in there. We have a category just for this case, too, that people are dropping in information every day. And it's like a smaller, tight-knit community. And it's been growing. We're at 2,700 people right now on Discord. So.
Okay, well, that's where I need to be then. Apparently, that's where I need to be.
Definitely.
I don't see, I'm not sure where to find a link to that, I guess. I'm such a tech
I'm going to
noob.
drop it. I'm going to drop it on, you're on Twitch?
I'm on Twitch, yeah.
I've
actually got you up on both, honestly.
You're doing awesome. Hey, thank you, man. Thank you.
No problem. I'm gonna jump off. Let somebody else get on. But if there's any, keep doing what you're doing. You are. The last caller was right. You jumped on the scene, and your attitude, your demeanor, is just really perfect for this. You're calm, and I love the call-ins. It gives everybody a voice, a chance to speak, and it's just a real positive thing, even in times of this tragedy. So keep it up. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Adios. Bye. People are, Steph from LA was asking if I'm going to cover the Robinson case. I'm thinking I might do that tomorrow. I have somebody making a video playlist for me. I just have to sit down and read some articles. 804, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hi, this is Kat. I'm calling from Richmond, Virginia.
Hey, Cam, welcome.
Thank you so much for taking my call. I had a couple questions as far as, how everyone has some kind of a camera, either doorbell cam or something like that within the area, neighbors, businesses. Police officers will usually canvass the streets to see they can pick up the cameras and so forth. Do you think that they've done that to track the whereabouts and who was around this group of people, maybe 8 hours before the crime happened, in order to get maybe a visual of somebody that could have been looking at them?
That's a possibility. I haven't heard them talk about going that far back. I mean, I would hope that they're just saying maybe to trace their steps throughout the day or way hours before.
Right.
Because the time frame is kind of
I'm wondering,
from like that
did any of
night.
the neighbors have a door cam or any
Right.
cameras outside?
The sister said she was going looking for through all the different, trying to get cameras and checking neighbors, whatever video they have. I don't even know if they have any. And this guy probably exited out the back, which leads to like a remote area, like trees and woods and stuff. I don't know if that was his exit plan.
Yeah, I guess the detectives would be able to, to determine, is there, any property that's behind there that maybe picked up a vehicle that was in the area. They saw maybe a shadowy figure or what have you. I'm just wondering, and maybe they've already done all this and they're just not releasing it.
Possible. They said, I think in the statement that they've interviewed, I think they said, let me see here, I thought it was 30 something people, 35 or something like that. 38 interviews have been conducted with individuals who may have information about the murders. So, and they said over 500 tips are being processed. So hopefully something credible, because I just can't imagine, I don't know how this guy could pull something off like that, or whoever it is, pull something off like that and just slip away, not be seen after committing something, and then act normal. They got to be acting strange. I mean, how could they behave normal after doing something like that?
Necessarily. You've got. I mean, look at the guy that drove through the parade crowd. He didn't.
True.
He didn't have any shred of remorse.
That nutbag.
And you have that. They disassociate themselves from whatever they had done.
True.
Another thing, I personally think that there was one other person involved. One person can't subdue four unless they're drugged or completely out. But the screams or what have you, there's no way one person's going to be able to do that. There had to have been more than one person involved.
Some people have said that. Some people feel like that. That maybe there was more than one person. I mean, even police, there was some sort of statement that they said they're looking at all possibilities, even if at possibly even be more than one killer. So
Right. Well, thank you for all you do, and I pray to God that they find the person that did this.
I hope
And
so too.
my condolences to the family.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for calling.
much.
All right, take care. Okay. Let me open up these links too. Copy link. Let me take the next caller. So this weekend I don't have the baby with me. It's dropped off. Surprisingly, I rarely ever have time, so I have extra time this weekend. 248, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hi, Mel. Can you hear
Hi.
me?
Yes, loud and clear. How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm calling from 248, same area code as Loretta, but I'm not her.
Oh, okay. I can tell.
I'm Ellie. It's nice to talk to you. Long time listener, first time caller.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, love you. I've been I'm let's just say I'm new to true crime, but I've been following you since Gabby Petito, so I guess I'm not new anymore. Huh?
Yeah, no, you've been around for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but you're my number one guy. So
thank you. Thank
I've
you.
been taking notes on this. So I'm going to start from the bottom. So first we have that Sarah Osborne thing, which I haven't checked out, but that's insane if it's true.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask somebody to look into it to see if
Yeah,
they can check it out. Yeah.
that's like, yeah, that's gnarly. I don't know. The next line I have is in bold. Dude, we hate Mark Furman, right? Can we not use him as a source?
So I don't even know who I saw people referencing. He has something to do with OJ or something like that.
Oh my God, are you okay? So I'm older than you. Okay, I'm 38. I'm older than you, but he literally has been recorded saying I set up N-words for crimes.
No way. Holy
Yeah,
crap! I'm gonna have
for
to
the
look
O.J.
into that
Simpson
guy.
trial. That's basically
Wow.
how O.J. got away. We all know O.J. did it, but
Right.
this guy, because he was so psycho, let O.J. off the hook because he's on record saying, "Oh yeah, I'll set N-words up for crimes."
Wow. I'm gonna have to check that out.
So that's
Damn.
Mark Furman, right? So let's not have him on anymore.
Maybe he's trying to get back into the light.
He is, but my thing is like, if like we're canceling Jared, right? For whatever the hell he did at 16, can we
Yeah,
cancel
he's
Mark
gonna go
Furman
to-
for what he did at 35? He was 35. He
Well,
was
they're
like an
saying. I
old
think
guy.
Jared.
He
They're
was
saying
like,
17. I think Jared's defense. I haven't even really talked about this yet, but I because he now his attorney's saying they're gonna fight back and they're denying everything but I think his claim is gonna be that he's gonna try to say he was 12 and just play that he's a victim because he was abused or something. I think he's gonna try to do that.
Still, even if you're 12 though, I'm not
Mhm.
saying like I understand you're a child, but it's
Mhm.
still not right if you're
Right,
12.
no, I
Like,
agree.
you know,
Totally.
I don't know. You know right from wrong, but we all know that like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all these dudes did bad things, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't mean you can't also do great things.
Right.
Anyway, that's a whole nother
Right.
nonsense. Drives me bonkers. But I just Mark Furman is a thumbs down. Okay.
They're saying
As
it's not
As
true.
an elder, I can tell you that.
Well, I'll look it up another
Um,
time. But you go. Yeah, go ahead to the next thing. I'm gonna
Yeah,
check him out.
Yeah. So that's just one little thing. So anyway, so the next thing I have is so a ton of people had a code to the house. Like what the hell?
Yeah, I played a clip. I've actually heard it twice now. In some of the clips that it was kind of like a code that a lot of people had. Is what they said. So
Yeah, and so that's crazy. And then
Mhm.
I mean that's crazy. If they had a code to get into the freaking front door, that's alarming. So then the next thing I have is that Xana's dad said that she had defensive wounds, but then Ethan's parents said they were found in the same bed. So we're going to assume that maybe he attacked the guy first because he was obviously the bigger threat, and maybe perhaps Xana woke up and tried to defend herself.
it's possible. Yeah, that's a plausible theory. Maybe he would have gone for the stronger person, and maybe she woke up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super upsetting. And then the next line I have is so Maddie's, and again, we all know this is just ridiculous speculation, but so Maddie's boyfriend, the mom put out a statement about how they were coming for Thanksgiving, and she was, they were two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
And the first thing I thought of was, I don't know if you're familiar with the Mara Murray case.
No.
It's like a legendary case from like the early 2000s, but the girl disappeared from college. She was driving, and her boyfriend's mom was like, "Oh, they were supposed to come visit me." And I don't think Mara Murray's boyfriend has anything to do with the disappearance. I'm just saying that's the first thing I thought of was, if any of the chat have heard of Mara Murray, that's the first thing that I thought of when I heard the statement of the mom saying that she's lost a puzzle piece and that stuff.
Okay.
But that's just the case. Again, like I said, I'm a little bit older. So then the next thing I have is, I'm sorry, I have 4 kids and I'm a mess. So you might have talked about this before.
Uh-huh.
But did you talk about the fact that there was a knife wielding person on campus, like in September?
Yes.
Okay,
I thought that was super weird. And the thing is, because I was talking to a friend about it, because during the press conference and during the Q&A, they had one of the reporters had asked about that, and I feel like they kind of danced around it. But I don't think they ever caught that guy, whoever that was. They don't know. I don't even know that they identified him.
Apparently, he turned himself in.
Did he?
That's what I on the live thing. That's what they said. But what does that mean? Like who? Like
right. I wish I'm gonna try to find that article.
Is that even true? Yeah, and was the right person even turned in? I just find that whole thing sketchy. Like who yields a knife? Okay, so then the next thing I have is the sleeping roommates, and that's a big one for me because I lived my senior year. So Maddie and Kaylee were in their senior year, and in my senior year, I lived with 8 girls, and we lived in a 3-story house, and there were also bedrooms in the basement. And I was pre-med, so I went to I didn't know what my roommates were doing. Okay, I came home and I went to bed most of the time. I left at 8 o'clock in the morning. They could have been dead on the floor. Who knows? And so I just feel like anyone who's judging the roommates at all needs to let go. Because, and if I did, on the rare nights that I went out, when I came home, I didn't know who was home. I don't know. I just feel like I was in a house like that. We were all in sororities, 3 different sororities, and we just we were very close. But it was like whoever was out, we just did our thing, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I never had really the college life like in a dorm or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure if it's multiple people, I'm not going to be constantly checking who's coming in, who's coming out. I'll probably just keep my door locked, especially if it's known to be a party place too. I'm not going to be like, monitoring like that.
And if we go back, the only person that I heard say it's a party house is Mark Furman. So let's take that with a grain of salt, okay? Like, what is a party house? Like a house where people live that
I feel like I've seen that. I won't be able to find it now because I feel like I've seen that elsewhere as well. But I'm not sure. I'd have to search and find.
Yeah, I need to hear that from someone other than him.
Okay.
I lived in a house with 8 girls and we were very social, but I would not have called it a party house. Again, I was like a pre-med loser. You know, there were other, like, I just don't know if we were like a party house, but we were very social. Right. So I don't love the whole party house as an excuse.
An excuse to what?
Okay. Well, as an excuse for like people could come in and out and like no one cared.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. So the next thing I have is
one more.
This is a big one. So sliding glass door, and your last caller was awesome. So sliding glass doors, you basically anyone can break into them.
Yep.
And I agree that open would be like not locked. Like
right.
in Michigan and probably in Idaho, I'm assuming there's no such thing as like being left open. Like that baby is closed. It's just closed and unlocked.
Right. Well,
so I think that it probably wasn't open.
This guy on video right now to show you it is pretty easy to just open it if you're, but they said there was no forced signs, but it is really easy to open that.
Isn't it scary? Oh, super easy. Like terrifyingly. Like again, I don't.
The party house thing, I've heard a lot of people say. I just pulled up a Daily Mail article too. I mean, I don't know. Some people don't like Daily Mail, but I can send it to you. I don't know, I don't know if you want to email me. I've heard that too, but I understand the one guy you don't trust. But I have heard multiple people saying that, and that's not any judgment or anything like that. But
Oh no, not at all. No judgment. And I love that you heard that from other people. Obviously I don't love Mark Furman, so I love that hearing that from other people actually makes me feel better. That it's like the house that people were in and out of. That I can appreciate that more. And sliding glass doors are sketchy. So then I'm getting to the end, I promise. The next thing I have is the 911 call, which you talked about. I think one of the callers recently summed it up great, saying like it was probably someone that came in and just like a friend, maybe.
Yeah. They said, I heard it was I had seen reports say that it was a friend, but they didn't say who, and they said it's not the roommates.
Yeah. And it truly, like, so I had a very fun but not exciting college career for 4 years, but I did call 911 because I watched people steal my friend's car. And I'm just thinking, like, I wasn't like sober when that happened, and I did call 911. So I do think, I'm just thinking, like going back, and I graduated in 2008, so we're talking like, you know, I had a sidekick, like not even like a phone, but we're talking like.
I have to take the next, like, you make like one final point, but then there's like 5 other people holding, so I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I just think that the caller. My final point is that the caller said unconscious because they didn't want to know what they were saying.
They didn't know what they were seeing. The only thing I was just kind of like, but how though? With all the, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they.
If you see someone dead and you've never seen someone dead before, it's like you don't want to know what you're seeing, right?
Right. Okay. True. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Yes, love you, Mel.
All right, love you too.
Going.
Thanks.
I'll call again someday.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye. Calls coming in. 647. How you doing? Thank you for holding. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Toronto. How you doing, brother?
Good. Thank you for calling, man.
Hey, man. I've been watching since the first case with the last case with the girl in the car, the young daughter. I just threw a brain fart, a little nervous. I wasn't expecting.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I thought I was way back in the iCkEdMeL.
Which case?
Riley. Is that her name? Riley?
Oh, Kylie. Yeah. Kylie Ronnie.
I called in and said that I'm pretty sure she's in the reservoir and there's 4 people involved. I just had a feeling.
You don't think it's an accident? You don't think it's an accident?
No, I called in the beginning. I was just like,
okay. Gotcha.
But with this case here, someone in your room said that they turned themselves in, but I think they might have been a troll. But they were put in caps a whole bunch of times.
Really?
Cool, man. If you haven't heard nothing about it,
I wouldn't be surprised.
This case is like, if there's no defense wounds on anybody.
They said there is. There
is defense wounds.
At first they're saying no, but they are saying that there is. That there was defense
they're
wounds.
saying there is now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And at least one of the persons had it.
One, eh?
It was I think it was Xana.
All right, then that kind of changes it back to like before. Like it's probably someone who's jealous of them, obviously, right? So it'd be like someone who's had the fame taken away from them because these girls were well known, they're beautiful, they're well liked, famous. So someone might have took the spotlight away recently, and that person got jealous. Could be like a girl, right? And it would be meticulated like that, like they plan that stuff right out to a T, right? Women do all the planning and stuff, right? So
yeah.
And women murderers that do this kind of stuff, it's the same thing. Like, did you find out? Like, yeah, they did like friggin' months or years of planning into this stuff. But having an ex-boyfriend do it as well, you wouldn't think that he would murder everybody. He would just murder his ex-girlfriend or something like that. Right? He's not going to murder the whole home because there's nothing behind it.
It's weird that 4 people killed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when they first said like they thought they were sleeping because there was no defense wounds. That's what I was going to say. The first point was going to be it's obviously they could have been someone who knew them, came in and used one of the drugs like scopamine. You just blow the dust in their face, and instantly when they breathe it in, you can just say, okay, let's go to your bank and take out all your money. And they're like, okay, right on. And then say, oh, by the way, can you give me your home and we'll sign over it on the market when we're going, and just give me the deed. And they're like, yeah, no problem. It makes the person just do whatever you ask.
Some people in the chat are saying female crossed their mind. I forget what the statistics are for female murders, like the motives. It's different from men. I forgot.
It's scary. I've dated a lot of women when I was younger, and I haven't dated anyone in 7 years now. This is when I was younger. I'm a totally different person, but I I was always honest with them, so I stood out from all their other boyfriends. So they always opened up to me and told me stuff. And even friends, when I was growing up, they'd come up to me and say, "Hey, man, don't tell me nothing but." And,
money.
I'd give them advice, right? But with girlfriends, it's the same thing. And some of the messed up things they tell me they were doing to their ex-boyfriends, and I'm sitting there listening to them, going like, "But I'm going to be an ex-boyfriend." Because it's not like we're going to be together forever. I haven't heard you talking like marriage or anything like that, and you never know the future, right? So I'm sitting there as dating these women, listening to them breaking down and being honest and telling me the cunning things that they've done, and it's like, wow, man, like, yeah. So I fortunately for me, I've always been honest with girlfriends and never had pissed off ex-girlfriends and been friends with them and stuff. But the stuff that I've heard, like, yeah, you don't want to do that. But this whole thing, besides getting back to the case, it seems like if it was an ex-boyfriend, there'd be more than one person with self-defense wounds. Like, what's he just going to do? Run up and just stab everybody for no reason? No. So if it's someone who's involved in it because they've watched these girls like take away their spotlight, or they're a jealous person, or even this, man, I didn't want to mention it, but it could be like a three-way thing, man. Like, and kids are into a whole bunch of weird sex stuff nowadays, man. I'm 50, man, and so like 3 ways for kids now. It's like that's nothing for them, right? They have group freaking
Yeah,
parties
but
and
the
stuff like
parents, I think the parents
So-
were saying, there was people thinking that, but the parents were saying that has nothing, it wasn't like a love triangle or anything like that. I mean, I know what
I
you're saying.
understand, yeah. And the police too, man. The police won't mention, even if they know that could be involved. They won't do it out of respect for the family. Even if they find trace amounts like some Molly in them, and they know it wasn't enough to kill them, they're not going to mention it. So like someone could just come over and go, "Yeah, man, here's some Molly, man," and here, crushed up and sniff it, and then they put that scopamine in it, and they just sniff scopamine, and next thing you know, they're telling them, "Okay, go lay down in bed now, go to sleep," and they're like, "Okay." And they'll do it, and they could like literally just say to them, "Okay, I'm going to shove this knife in your heart now, okay?" And they're like, "Okay, is it going to hurt? Yeah, it's going to hurt. Okay." Like that's what that scopamine does, man. It makes they're just totally compliant. They'll do whatever you
Oh,
say.
you're talking about that?
It's scary.
They call that there's a name that it's dubbed, the dragon's
Devil's
breath,
dust
or
or
devil's
something
something. Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about
dragons.
that.
Yeah.
Something,
It's
yeah.
one of those things, man.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank
So
you. Appreciate the
that's-
call, dude.
Yeah, brother. All right, man. You have a good
All
night.
right,
God bless
thanks.
you.
You too. Thanks.
Peace.
All right, we got 2 other callers. I think we should call it with the 2 callers, and then we can talk about whatever. I think we got enough. We got a pretty good amount of calls. And 940, how you doing? We're calling from. We're 2 hours in
Texas.
Texas. Hey, welcome.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
So I wanted to address the roommates not hearing it. My son is in college, and he uses a brown noise box to sleep. So it's not impossible that they had something on
What is that? The brown.
making noise.
What is that?
It's like a white noise box,
Oh.
except it's got a heavier bass to it.
Okay.
He has ADHD, and it helps people with ADHD sleep deeper.
Okay.
So
So he wouldn't
brown
hear
noise
anything. You
is
can't hear
really good.
nothing when you have that thing on.
No, you can't hear anything. And also, he lives in a unit with like 8 other boys. It's a 6-bedroom. He has a room on his own. But in those types of units, they have a bolt lock and a doorknob lock on the door. So they actually have keys to go in their rooms. So it's not just like they're locking the knob. So each room will have its own like padlock. So if they locked that door, if they had their doors locked upstairs and the others didn't have their doors locked, it may be that he couldn't gain access. He may have tried, or whoever it was that went in. So there's a lot of reasons. Plus, knives are not loud. I mean,
Right.
if they were murdered quickly, they wouldn't have made noise so that the people in the other rooms would have maybe loud enough to hurt. I mean, you've got to think too, Ted Bundy killed a bunch of co-eds inside of a dorm that, and from room to room they didn't hear it. And the same thing with Richard Speck. So it's not impossible.
Right. Right. There was a clip that we played earlier too that said was talking about that it's possible to kind of that's why things could have been quiet the way this person killed them. So
Right. I think that there's a good possibility that it's going to be someone, it was a crime of opportunity because, or it could be related to the stalker she had, the one girl had, but, you know, who knows? There's really nothing right now that gives you any real reason to believe that it was one individual person that knew someone, or, you know, crazy people have a lot of rage in them. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be someone that they personally know.
right.
A lot of crazy people out there. But needless to say, it's, you know, I'll be sitting down with my son and having a pretty serious heart-to-heart with him about security when he comes home for Thanksgiving, and probably taking a trip to his college to assess the security of where he's living. I mean, it definitely, you take things for granted as a parent. My heart just breaks, absolutely breaks. I cannot imagine what those parents are going through, what the family is going through. But the sister of the one girl that is doing all of this detective work and getting all of this information, she's a freaking hero and just amazing. I'd be so proud to have a child like that. I mean, she deserves a lot of kudos.
Definitely, I agree. Thank you so much for calling. Any other thoughts?
No, that's it. Thank you for
Thank you.
the sensitivity that you're using covering what's going on with Adventures with Purpose. That's another one that's just extremely disturbing and hard to process. But the way you're handling it and reporting on it, it's very much appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks. Take care. Okay, two more callers. The whole Sarah thing, I don't think that has anything to do with anything. And that it looks like that person's underage. So, I don't know. It's weird, but I don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. 808. How you doing? Where you calling from? 808.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
This is. I've never done this before. So
Welcome.
I'm calling from the big island of Hawaii, Aloha.
Oh, aloha.
I'm a long-time fan.
Thank
but
you.
my background is in military security. I just wanted to say something about the locks. The locks with the codes on them, there are different kinds. Some of them will be electronic, but most of them are just mechanical. And the reason you get those, especially on a house like that, is you only have to buy one of them. They're expensive to buy, but you only have to buy one of them. And then whenever somebody leaves, you can change the code. You just open them up and change them. And so then you never have to buy new locks. But the problem is most young especially young people, they don't understand security. And then they give them to their friends, and then they leave the back door open. I mean, we had the same problems. It's horrible what happened, but we have the same problems and rapes on the bases, which they don't let you know about in the general public. But it was the same thing. Young people would leave their door open, or, somebody, well, even one that I had, this guy was in the wrong building. He was trying to find his girl, but he was really drunk, and he went in there. And I happened to come out of my room and see this guy who I didn't know walk into my girlfriend's room in the middle of the night. It's like we had to call him, and they said, well, he was drunk. I said, I don't think he was drunk. He was up. He was up to something. It was real scary. But anyway, I'm saying young people sometimes they do, and if they were drunk or they were, there's all kinds of issues. It's really horrible. But the lock thing is, they do that on buildings where there's a high turnover, and you don't want to buy new locks.
Yeah, right.
So
Makes sense.
I hope they find the guy who did it. But yeah, if he had a knife, I don't think he was in there. I think he followed him. But that's just my thoughts. So, but thank you and keep doing what you're doing. It's
Appreciate
wonderful.
it. Yeah, thank you for calling all the way from Hawaii. Thank you.
Yeah, on the Big Island, up on the mountain.
Thanks.
So, take
All right.
care.
You too. Thanks. Bye. All right, last caller. 908. How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey Mel, 24 Baby Bull. How's it going?
Hey, good man. Welcome.
Hey, I'm reading through Twitter, and this guy posted this tweet. Says 2 victims both made frantic calls to a guy named Jack hours before they died. So it sounds like both those girls called this guy Jack.
Do you know who tweeted that out? I wonder if I could pull it up.
Yeah, it's Joseph Morris on YouTube.
Oh, Lord.
It's on Twitter. He's got like a screenshot.
Let me see.
And it looks like Kaylee was calling Jack from 2:26 to 2:44 a.m. And then Madison started calling him at 2:44 to 2:52. So I don't know. This Jack guy seems to be important.
Okay, so his post says at 2:26, Kaylee starts to call Jack. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times. Okay, and made another call to that person at 2:52 a.m. One of Kaylee's roommates, Madison Mogen, also called 3 times. That's the first time I'm hearing of that.
Yeah, I just ran into it. I'm like, figured I'd give you a call.
Let me see something.
And thank you for joining us here.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can play this. I appreciate the heads up on that, but I'm gonna take a look and see to try to
Joining us here
confirm
on
it.
the news at 6.
All right, bro. I just
Okay.
wanted to call and
Thank you, man.
give it to you. All right.
Appreciate
bud.
it. All right, take care.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. So I'm gonna try to. Somebody posted a link under that, or maybe it wasn't even to that. I have not heard that there are 2 victims made frantic calls to a guy named Jack. I just heard the one person that made calls to this guy 6 times. But if they can find that somewhere, let's see. Thank you, Dragonfly Lady. Appreciate that. Yeah, no, I know with that kind of stuff, I needed, because there was a whole situation, that person fabricated a video or something. So I just have to be, got to be careful. But I haven't seen that. Let me see. Where they used the video and pretended like it was Brian Laundrie or whatever, somebody else's actual original video from a long time ago. Let's see something. So here's an article from Fox News. Let's see. Idaho murder victim says she called man 7 times of night slings. Do they have a... One of the victims of the quadruple homicide near the University of Idaho on November 13 called a man named Jack 7 times. So this is, I heard 6, but they're saying 7. Jack 7 times before she was murdered, her sister told Inside Edition. That's the only source that I've heard, from the one source where the sister directly on video says this. I haven't heard anything else about a second victim also called. I think he said Kaylee. Let me see here. Moscow believe the victims Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan and Xana were stabbed to death at their home near the campus between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. At 2:26, Kaylee starts to call Jack, Olivia told Inside Edition, which described the young man, Jack as a young man, Kaylee calls 6 times between 2:26 and 2:44. Okay. Oh, but look. He's actually right, I think. Kaylee calls 6 times between 2:26 and 2:44. From 2:44 to 2:52, Maddie calls Jack 3 times. Then Kaylee makes a final call to him. That's weird as shit. This is where he was quoting it. But I don't remember. Did they say this in the Inside Edition video? I think we need to re-listen to that section again. At 2:26 a.m., Kaylee starts to call Jack. Olivia told Inside Edition, which described Jack as a young man. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times between 2:26 and 2:44 a.m. From 2:44 a.m. to 2:52 a.m., Maddie calls Jack 3 times. Then Kaylee makes a final call. I'm not going to go into the Sarah person. Somebody called in mentioning an Instagram profile and they thought it was interesting, but it's an underage person. So I don't need to, I'm just not interested in putting that person's profile out there or anything like that. Maybe if I look more, but after the stream, but I'm not going to be digging into some kids thing or whatever. Like doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything. I don't know if it's a clout thing or what. Let me play. Pull up the video. I didn't remember hearing that on Inside Edition. Let's see. Let's pull it up. So they're quoting saying that Inside Edition said this. So let's check out Inside Edition. History. Here it is.
Attention on the brutal slayings of 4 college kids.
How do you kill 4 people with a knife?
We're learning about another strange detail in this case.
My most immediate question is, where's the suspect?
Dozens of websites and postings from armchair detectives are springing up, and some of the best known lawyers and detectives are offering their own theories about what may have happened.
Interesting how 4 students can be overcome by 1 person with a knife, not a gun.
Olivia Goncalves isn't waiting for police. She's tracking down her own leads to find her sister Kaylee's killer.
We're not getting any answers, and we're not going to settle for that. Hi.
It was Olivia who found the potentially crucial video of her sister and Madison Mogen at a food truck just hours before they were murdered. She also tracked down their Uber driver.
I found neighbors' Ring camera footage so that I can verify that the Uber driver took her home.
She's also raising questions about why her sister called a young man named Jack multiple times the night she was slain.
At 2:26 a.m., Kaylee starts to call Jack. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times between 2:26 a.m. to 2:44 a.m.
Gosh, I give you a lot of credit. You're almost like a detective.
So where does it say 6 times between 2:26 and 4:44 a.m.? And from 2:44 a.m. to 2:52, Maddie calls Jack. That makes it, so where are they getting this additional information from? Because they're citing Inside Edition, and they're citing the sister. Kaylee Goncalves has photos with a young man named Jack posted to her Instagram. In one such post, an Instagram user left a comment insinuating the man's involvement in the crime, which Kaylee's sister Autumn shot down in the response to that user. Let me get the full screen. One of the stupidest comments I've ever seen, Autumn wrote in her Thursday comment, a photo of my sister smiling with a boy she dated for 6 years, and you accuse him pointing the finger in the wrong direction. Jack has nothing but love. Again, I think there's multiple Jacks, as people are saying. It seems like people are maybe confusing that. So I'm really confused as to where Fox is getting this. Let me see something. Let me make sure that is there video on this here? We played on the other screen. ad blockers. Creme News 54 minutes ago has new updates. Clear up rumors. All right, we're going to take a look at that. I wish they'd clear up these calls thing. All right. Pull up the Creme News. I'm going to pull up that article. So, Joseph got his information from Fox. So he's not wrong about that, but the information Fox has, I'm wondering, doesn't make too much sense to me because they're quoting Inside Edition, which Inside Edition, I didn't hear them say that at all. They're saying that the sister said that.
Unit rather has joined the investigation into last week's murder of 4 University of Idaho students. Remember, they haven't caught anybody. This comes as we get new details about the 2 people who were in the house where the killings took place but were not harmed. Correspondent Dan Springer has an update on this story tonight from Moscow, Idaho.
For a 5th straight day, investigators combed through the rental home just off the campus of the University of Idaho, where 4 students were brutally murdered Sunday morning. They swabbed the extensive crime scene and...
I mean, and I wonder, and in this specific incident, are they talking about 2 Jacks? This is confusing now, that this part here.
Took pictures in the bedrooms where the slayings occurred. The Latah County coroner, Kathy Mabbitt, said each of the victims was stabbed multiple times using a long knife, the fatal wounds to the chest. The bodies were found in bed, suggesting the victims were attacked while sleeping. One victim, Xana Kernodle, had defensive wounds, according to her father. The coroner called the attack personal.
It has to be somebody that's pretty angry in order to stab 4 people to death.
New information tonight about the 2 roommates who were in the house while the murders took place. They were unheard and apparently unaware of the attack. The Daily Mail identifies them as Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. Police say they have been cooperating to the extent they can.
Hi. Welcome back.
Investigators are also trying to track with so.
We want to talk to you, and so having those interviews
Let me look at this article too. This just came out. Latest update Friday. We know all the details of this. Timeline of events. Investigators determined that Kaylee and Madison were at the bar. We know all this stuff. Covered this already. Okay. New confirmed. I like this. Newly confirmed information. The 4 victims were likely asleep at the time of the attacks. There were some defensive wounds found on parts of the victims' bodies. Each victim was stabbed multiple times. Okay. There was no sign of SA. Detectives do not believe 2 other roommates. Do not believe 2 other roommates that were inside the home during the murders were involved in the attacks. Okay. Detectives also do not believe a hooded male seen outside the food truck. And Madison, what? Detectives also do not believe a hooded male seen outside the food truck Kaylee and Madison visited, that many have speculated online about, was involved in the murder. So they don't. White Hoodie's not involved. And it says visited. Yeah, the guy visited them many times. Reports that the victims were tied and gagged are not true. Part of the investigation, detectives seized the contents of 3 dumpsters. We covered that. Detectives have checked with local businesses about the knife. That's it. Yeah, I'm really, this whole thing here, I'm kind of like, I don't know. The specific part here. And what this is going to do too, it's going to create even more craziness around Jack. Who is Jack? How many Jacks are there? You know? Let me look up something else real quick. They're supposed. Oh, you know what I missed? Wait, what time was this? There was supposed to be something on Banfield. We could watch that too. Told me that. Russia was saying. Banfield. Can you send me what time? 10 p.m. Eastern. It's already 10. Did not show it. Hold on. Okay, Dig sent me a link to the sister on News Nation. Let's watch that, and then I want to see if I can find the News Nation. I mean, the other Ashley Banfield.
I'm very sorry to meet you this way. What do you want people to know?
This was a day ago, so I haven't seen this. Let's see if she mentions anything about this call, even though Fox is citing Inside Edition. But
about your sister.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to know about Kaylee is she was a go-getter and she was an absolute fighter. And I want people to take this personally because she was everyone's daughter. You know, she's the neighbor, she's the friend. You know, she was the girl who made your coffee in the morning. And everyone should be taking this personally.
So we're taking it personally, and it doesn't make any sense, certainly not to you. In terms of what you understood about your sister's life, was there any threat that she had ever had? Was there anybody who was coming after her on social media? Did she have a past, a problem with a boyfriend or a friend? Anything to inform why somebody would do something so violent to her, her friend, her other roommate, and her boyfriend?
Absolutely. There's nothing. There's no boy problem. There's no threat. There's no high-risk lifestyle that could have indicated this. It has taken all of us completely by shock, and we have absolutely no ideas. None.
Now, your frustration, other than just dealing with the tremendous loss for your family, is what in terms of the investigation?
I think this happened in a small town, and I absolutely understand that local authorities were probably overwhelmed, and I don't blame them at all. They did exactly what they should have done. But we're losing critical time, and I want more coverage. I want more done. I understand that we can't release information. It's an ongoing investigation. I don't ask for that. I don't want to impede on anything, but I want more people speaking out. And if that takes the police to push that agenda, that's fine. But unfortunately, I feel like it's been me and the families pushing that agenda, and that's been really difficult.
Hey, thank you for watching.
Okay, so the Ashley Banfield thing, I think it's on her show or something. It's not actually, I don't see it anywhere online on YouTube. But so yeah, we're gonna have to follow back up on this sometime about this whole thing with Fox, which is really weird because I just don't hear Kaylee talking about Maddie. 2:26 a.m. Kaylee starts to call Jack. The sister told Inside Edition, which described Jack as a young man. Kaylee calls Jack 6 times between 2:26 and 2:44. From 2:44 to 2:52, Maddie calls Jack 3 times. And Kaylee makes one final call at 2:52. So that would be the 7, the 6 and 1, 7, and then they're claiming that Maddie made 3 calls. So that's super weird. It's the only place right now I'm hearing say that, which they referenced Inside Edition. I don't know if it's a mistake. If that was a mistake, that's a weird mistake to make. I don't know. Yeah, Chris Cuomo, he moved over to News Nation. The sister, we could try. We could try and see. I don't it seems like she wants to get attention on the story, so I mean I don't normally that video on Fox was just clips of her Inside Edition interview. She said more. I sent you a link on Twitter. We watched the whole Inside Edition one, but I'll check my Twitter. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, that link you sent is just the same information, and it links back to same information that's on the Fox thing. Here's where she says more to inside. Oh, I forgot I was on that thing. Yes, the link you sent me has like the same information. I don't know if Inside Edition did an actual article. Let me see something real quick. Try that Inside Edition. See if they have an article. No. I don't know. We'll just have to follow back up with that and get confirmation. That's a weird piece and pretty odd. And it points more to like, that's kind of weird. All these people calling Jack. News Nation 5 on my TV Banfield. I think that's it. Let me just check and see. No, you guys didn't know Chris Cuomo was on News Nation. He interviewed Kanye West recently, and when he did that interview, that was on News Nation, and he's blowing up over there. He's doing well. That News Nation thing, I don't see it's up right now. I mean, I don't have the actual TV programming show. Like, I can't watch there unless it's on YouTube. I can't watch it. Does she have her own YouTube channel, or it's just News Nation? Ashley Banfield. Nothing. Oh, let me get the super chats too. And you guys definitely hit like before you head out of here. Tracy, thank you so much for the super chat. Says you should contact Kaylee's sister and ask her what we can do to help. I put the GoFundMe's in the description. They've all exceeded their goals though, which is nice. They got a lot of help. Shelly, thank you so much for the super chat. Best channel, best mods, best chat peeps who care about what? Oh, who care about victims the most? I thought you were gonna say who cares about victims. I was like, damn, savage. Paul K. Joseph Morris, warning, not really reliable source, quite frankly. Thank you. Yeah, he got it from Fox though. He pulled it from there, but I still think there's something iffy about that because I don't see the sister saying that anywhere about the about Maddie calling. I just seen her talk about it's all slipping in my head now. Kaylee. Gypsy, thanks so much for the super chat. Please be kind to callers. It can be nerve-wracking. Yeah, I'm sure it can be, for sure. I understand when people call and they're kind of nervous and stuff. Christian, stalker might have entered house and killed wrong blonde, looking for look for the next, which could explain why multiple died. Horrible case anyway. R.I.P. Thanks. Paul K, thank you for the super chat. Says, finally live. Hit the subscribe button, guys. He's such a legend here in Oz, all the way in Australia. Thank you, man. Bob Piffle says, did that lusty voice lady call yet? I hope I didn't miss that yet. Yeah, she did. She called. Technical out. What's up, Mel? I sent you a long description of the King Road property. It's interesting. Okay, thanks. I don't know where I'd have to see where you sent it. And Kate earlier said, why don't police take stalking seriously? It feels like they don't. Kate Raven, question, if they were asleep, how would they defend themselves? And where's the doggy? So the dog was earlier I found a tweet where they said the dog, I guess, was at the house. I don't know why the dog wouldn't wake up or bark, but the dog is alive and they gave it to like a secondary owner, somebody. Gypsy says, I really think this alleged stalker info is crazy. He's the only person that's saying that. It's that guy. Gigi says, this is so sad. Thanks, Mel. Thank you for the super chat. Gypsy says, Olivia is a G. Can't wait for you to play the clip. Oh yeah, I like sister. Kate, 2 hours ago, a knife is oh yeah, I did those already. Okay. Crying hippie in the chat says YouTubers are calling victims' families never a good thing in the eyes of investigators, family or friends. If they're watching, just mention you want to talk. Yeah, I usually, believe it or not, most of the time I don't even contact families or whatever. Usually it's somebody that contacts me, or usually it's like a mutual friend of somebody that's spoken to them. And so the times that I have, most of the time it's through somebody else. Can't really remember the time that I've actually reached out to somebody. I'm probably sure I have, but like most of the time it just happens and it just comes. It's just kind of like how the Adventures with Purpose thing happened. Like they came on panel. That just, a lot of times it just happens naturally like that for me. So. This is the layout of the house. Rose said on Twitter, let me show this tweet. Rose said on Twitter, the victims were found on the second and third floors of their home. The first floor is where the surviving roommates were sleeping. It's mostly considered a basement. This could explain why they did not hear anything. And there's a sliding glass there. If that's the case, that would make sense. I thought the survivors were on the third floor. I don't know. I thought I had heard that or something. I don't even know anymore. Creme News. We just watched Creme News. I mean, I read the article. I lost it. I had it here somewhere. We just did Creme News. I don't know if there's anything in the video.
Already.
Wait, I just went down this article. Unless there's something in the video. Oh yeah, no, I believe you for sure. The endorsement DM me and said, Mel, that 2-minute video, the 2-minute Inside Edition video we watched with you was edited. You can tell that was not the whole interview by the sister. True. It's chopped and edited. It contained him talking to other people as well. Okay. The sister, she probably said it to them, but on YouTube video, it just showed certain sections. Okay. I don't know why. I mean, I get it. Inside Edition does a lot of times really short videos, but I mean, they should do a longer format thing too.
To death in their home on Sunday. This morning, Idaho State Police released a map roughly outlining where the students were late Saturday night into early Sunday morning. At this hour, they're hoping this map will help the public remember any information helpful to the investigation. Creme News' Amanda Rowley joining us now live from Moscow with this newly released timeline and map. Amanda.
Go find me.
Good evening, Cody. Local investigators are still trying to piece together where these 4 University of Idaho students went on Saturday night through Sunday morning before being stabbed to death in their Moscow home. Now, they are hoping the map released today will produce additional tips from the community. Now, that map details the night of Saturday, November 12th into the early morning hours of Sunday, November 13th. Now, it highlights locations locations and approximate times when Kaylee Goncalves and Madison Mogen were in downtown Moscow, while Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle were at the Sigma Chi house. Now, investigators believe Madison and Kaylee were at the Corner Club on Saturday from 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Then they were at the Grub truck on Main Street at 1:40 a.m. 5 minutes later, the map says they returned to their home on King Road. Investigators also believe Ethan and Xana were at a party at Sigma Chi from 8 to 9 p.m. Saturday night, then returned to the King Road home at 1:45 a.m. on Sunday. The hope is that someone might remember being at or near these locations around the same time and potentially saw something suspicious or relevant to the investigation. Police are asking those people to call the tip line number or email that information. And we, of course, have that tip line number and email address posted on krem.com. Now, tonight, this is all good information.
I haven't seen that in the chat. I'm going to send it to the admins to see.
It is new information as of this morning from the Idaho State Police Department, but it brings up even more questions, such as, did investigators use the students' cell phones to identify these times and locations? Did Madison and Kaylee walk an hour at the Sigma Chi house? Now, Ethan and Xana only spend an hour at the Sigma Chi house. Now, I have several calls into local authorities, including Idaho State Police, to clarify these details in the map. I haven't heard back, but we're going to continue pressing for answers as this story develops.
Okay, I think I'm doing one final sweep, but I think we're done. We've been here almost 3 hours. I did want to hang out extra with you guys and do calls and hear a little bit from you guys, so I appreciate you writing up. Go find me. Thank you for the super chat. Says play video number 9. Guy Maddie hugs, then 2 girl walked up. Mad. Play vid number 9. They talking about when they first walked up.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks. I think I would like the carbonara.
Okay.
But if I have like a free grub truck on my like.
Just go and hug the other guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. So what you want to do is we'll actually do this.
Show you your work in the gym. You're still late.
There you go.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
How many more do you need? That's the second one? Awesome. Dawn's mom.
There you go.
I mean, she's talking about right when she walks by and the girl kind of looks at her.
Absolutely.
People do it all the time, though, you know.
How many more do you need? That's the second one? Awesome. Dawn's mom. Oh, wait. Yeah, one.
Oh.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the part you're talking about. But thank you, though, for the super chat. Corgan Horses. Thank you for the super chat. Says, thanks for your care and accuracy. Jay Morris has a great dog, but gets out in front of things with a lot of info wrong. I mean, it can happen, but I have to say, he did quote it. He didn't make it up or anything. He did get it from Fox, but I am questioning Fox's, I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe there was more to that interview, like this guy, the endorsement said. You can clearly tell the interview was chopped and edited. And so it would be nice to see the sister in an unedited format. Well, that was News Nation, but there's so many questions. But then again, you know, I don't know what she can answer and she can't answer and stuff. Okay, I think we're good, man. I'm gonna save the last notification in case we get a chase. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and you know, helping to spread these stories. That's one of the goals on the channel, is to be able to magnify attention on a story and hopefully, you know, not cause any harm. That's why I was trying to say, like, don't do a witch hunt, don't go harassing people or anything like that. But just try to, you know, spread awareness and attention and whatever we can find. And I think, I mean, I know I definitely do desensitize. I think after like covering it so much, the sand, just hearing these horrible stories. So it's hard to even like imagine or place yourself in what somebody like that would feel like. I used to get, like, I say this all the time. I used to get really crazy when I was doing streams back then. Like, I would be getting really angry, cursing. How the F? Because I played some of the videos. One of the streams I played the videos for you guys. I used to go off because I just be so angry and frustrated and like it, just wondering how people can do the things that they do. I think one of the videos that I showed you guys not too long ago was the one where the woman lured somebody off of Facebook, a pregnant woman, so that they could cut the baby out of her womb. And so I was snapping. I mean, I used to like snap for real because it's just so like mind boggling, So the Jack thing, man, I don't know, bro. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but we're going to keep following. Janie. Where did the passion go? I have the passion, but I have to be. I can't move like that anymore. I can't be. I just what is it gonna do for me to scream on here? And then the mental effect that it would have on me too. And it's just not. It's not a good look. It's better to be in control. And I feel like the whole passion thing too. People use it as some sort of excuse to act out. I mean, the person that was targeting, making all these false accusations, the zombies that are zombie people that gave him a pass or said that it's okay. Oh, it's just passion. It's just a passionate person. I feel like that passion thing, sometimes people use that as some sort of like get out of jail free card, a pass to act like an animal and treat people like shit. And it's just a pass. And it gives people a pass. A lot of these people online excuse it to target people, intentionally target people. Oh, he's just passionate. So that word doesn't really do much for me when people are like, where's the passion at? That's just an excuse for people to act out. Passion is me being here all the time. Sweat and blood, nonstop for years, couple years. He's just passionate. Huh? It's passion. Bruh. So, yeah. No, I mean, I've just matured, man. It's been a couple of years. I'm not going to be on here for the most part. I still have my little rant sometimes. I'm not going to be on here screaming and cursing and doing all kinds of shit. Like, for the most part, like, why? Like, why do that? It's not, I mean, I would say it's not professional, but there's other things you could try to point out and say it's not professional. But I'm not holding to corporation besides YouTube, really. So I don't think it's becoming to be on here screaming and whatever, cursing out, whatever. Ooh, is that true? Go find me. Are you listening to it on TV? Go find me says Banfield said police said no Uber. They used a private owner to get home. See, that's the dangerous thing about that. Sometimes I hear with the Uber stuff, sometimes there's people that just work under the table. They're not really with Uber or whatever. They just making extra money. Janice said, passion definition, strong and barely controllable emotion. I'm trying to get control of my emotions. I'm trying to be in control if I can. I just noticed, and not everybody, but I noticed some people excuse horrible behavior with it's just passion. I don't buy that. Dad goes, bro, I got the weekend free, man. Who confirmed? Gypsy Girl says, who confirmed they all got home at the same time? The police. Well, I don't know who confirmed it, but the police are saying that. The police. This is new. This is straight from. This image is straight from the police department, the Moscow Police Department on Facebook. And so over here it says 1:45 a.m. Ethan and Xana at residence. And then here, the same thing, 1:45 a.m. Kaylee and Maddie at residence. I don't know if they use like GPS or to confirm those times, maybe possibly, you know. Yeah, probably their phone pings, right? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Gypsy, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm really hoping we get a chase so we can kind of relax and have a little fun, you know. Hopefully kick back. And tomorrow I'm gonna start looking into this Robinson story to see if we can at least start maybe covering it. Yeah. Bloop, bloop. They just released it? No, they did it. For real? Let's see. No me diga. De verdad. Vamos a ver. News Nation. You ain't lie. You ain't lie. You did not lie. Vamos a verlo. Let's check it out. Let me put it on.
The latest on this.
Ooh, okay. Let's check it out. Check out Banfield.
With the latest on this investigation and in this mystery is Alex Brzee. She is the breaking news and criminal justice reporter with the Idaho Statesman. She's been tracking this investigation. And Alex, I take it that you've already learned a new detail about this murder scene. Dylan and Bethany weren't the only two occupants of the house that survived that night. What have you found out?
Well, what we know about them is that they have not, that the police are not identifying them right now as a suspect, and they've, I guess, essentially cleared them at the moment. So.
But I think, isn't it true that you've also discovered there was a...
Have not, that the police are not identifying them. Well, what we know about them is that they have not, that the police are not identifying them right now as a suspect, and they've, I guess, essentially cleared them at the moment. So.
But I think, isn't it true that you've also discovered there was a dog, a pet?
So the police
are out. And Bethany weren't the only two occupants about this murder scene. Dylan and Bethany weren't the only two occupants of the house that survived that night. What have you found out?
Well, what we know about them is that they have not, that the police are not identifying them right now as a suspect, and they've, I guess, essentially cleared them at the moment. So.
But I think, isn't it true that you've also discovered there was a dog, a pet that was in the house?
Yes.
What did you learn? Tell me.
We learned that there was a dog in the house. I'm not sure who the dog belonged to, but we do know the dog is healthy and fine.
Do you know what the dog's name is and who the dog belonged to?
I don't know who the dog belonged to, but it looks on your screen that the dog's name was maybe Murphy.
That's something that I'd heard on social media. One of the girls in a TikTok had said Murphy as well. And it also seemed as though Kaylee Goncalves in her TikTok here has the dog. You can see her picking up the dog. And so it appears, and I'm going to tell you one thing about this TikTok. That is one of the bedrooms on the top floor of the house. The reason we know that is because of the sliding glass door that's to her right and the decking that's off to.
You think they got that from that Reddit post? Probably got it from the Reddit post. Or maybe they actually did it themselves. I don't know. Oh, and thank you guys. Raw video, law enforcement experts shares perspective. Damn, it's a 30-minute video. You guys want to hang out for that too? Oh, shit.
to the right as well. We can
24-minute
also
video.
tell that it's the top floor in the house because of the closet that's behind her, where she seems to have positioned a makeup table and a mirror. That all seems to fit directly with some of the Zillow pictures in the house that we're going to show our viewers in just a few minutes. We're going to take you on a tour of every room in that house, and you're going to see how that room looks without Kaylee in it. And then, of course, Kaylee's bed looks to be off to the left of where she's playing with what appears to be Murphy. Are you hearing anything, Alex, about any rumored leads? Any other talk of the town that police won't confirm, won't deny, but that certainly people are talking about?
One of the newest things, we had heard that there was a online report circulating that maybe some of the victims were bound or gagged, but police actually came out late today with a report confirming that that is not true and inaccurate information.
That's good to know, because I'll tell you what, when that kind of stuff starts to get legs, it's horrendous for the families. Honestly, you think about what they're going through already, and then to have it compounded by a story like that. So I'm glad that the police came out and publicly knocked down that story. The coroner told us last night, Alex, it appeared these victims were sleeping, were in their beds when they were stabbed multiple times, which would conflict with being perhaps bound and gagged. The warning from September, something that is interesting is that it was a knife complaint. A young man, 18 to 22, I think it was, with a knife, all dressed in black and riding a bike. Is there any more talk of that?
Oh, they privated it. I think they kind of did some editing issues with this, because there was some parts of it that I thought were kind of weird. Did they private it? They privated it. Were they watching me or something? Say, iCkEdMeL's watching. We gotta stop him. That video was just kind of weird a little bit. I just noticed a little like editing issues or something. Maybe that's why they took it down. All right, no loss there.
What are your thoughts?
It was pretty much everything we've kind of already covered, but that was interesting. They privated it. Secret information. This is 24 minutes. Somebody just texted me too, like, yo, you look tired as hell. I'm a little tired, but I'm okay. We can hang out for a little bit longer.
Thoughts on the case?
You know, I mean, first being that I work
So this is a law enforcement expert shares his perspective.
in academics at a college. We pay attention, especially when there's violence associated with universities and colleges. It's tragic. I've got young kids in college. It always reminds me of that those are not always the safest environments. They are safe. We expect them to be safe. But at the same time, we realize that there is, there's a world out there, and there are people sometimes that are, meaning to do harm to our children. And that's always concerning to me. I look at this situation. This is a high profile case. And I'm always looking to get that information, with a homicide or multiple homicides in this case. We expect to see, results fairly quickly. It doesn't always happen. But we expect that law enforcement, federal agencies get involved, and there are those suspects that are close to the victims, whether they're family, associates, classmates. Somebody close to the victim tends to be the most probable subject at the beginning. But we get a few days into it, and we don't see arrests, we don't see closure, we don't see people saying that we have a suspect or we have good ideas, and the community is not at risk. We're seeing the opposite. Community needs to, take precautions. I noticed that there was a professor that came out and said he's canceling.
Femi Creative says that doesn't make sense. If they were in their beds, Kaylee would have been on the third top level. The survivors were on the third. So I don't know. The post that I saw from Rose, they're saying that it was the survivors were on the bottom level. I have so many tabs open. I don't even know where that thing went. It's all just gone now. Oh, and by the way, I wonder if she took down this post. The YouTuber that posted this person claiming to be silent, this must have been wrong too, because the police said it's not true. We came downstairs, we saw the bodies bound and gagged. So this must be, I guess, a troll. And that's what I said in the earlier live stream. The name matches, but I can't actually click and see the account to verify. But so somebody trolling.
Class grades are not as important as human life, and to me that speaks that they're nobody's in custody, and we want to make sure that these students are safe. That's as an academic, that is one of my that's one of my tenets, that they come first.
And I think, part of it, people are just having a hard time wrapping their mind around the fact that 4 people were stabbed, and this person, able to stab 4 people with 2 roommates in the house and get away and still be running free now.
Right. And again, as we look at, the possibilities, obviously we look closest to the victims, and we have 4 victims, we look closest to the victims as somebody that is the subject. But when you get a few days out of this, I start to worry about those true victim crimes, the true victim homicides, whereas the victims and the suspect aren't known to each other. And this is, and I hate to use the word, but a Bundy-like situation that we, saw down in Florida many decades ago. That this is, somewhat, I'm not going to call it random, because if this individual is unknown to them, there may have been some planning. There may have been, other precursors to what was going into that, for him to, organize and go in and commit a crime like this. At the same time, I don't take out that there is somebody close to these people, somebody that saw them, somebody that went to school with them, somebody that associated with them in the community or at work or in some type of endeavor, and they became fixated on them, and we have to look at that. Or as in some cases we look with school shootings, was this based on peer rejection or social rejection? Was somebody maybe have a weapon fantasy? Let me back up. Or maybe somebody has a weapon fanization.
Let me. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. If I can, what is that post? Rose, where are you? Where are you, Rose? This post that she shared. Okay, here it is. This is, so Rose here says on this post, which is plausible because the sliding door was either unlocked or open. The victims were found on the 2nd and 3rd floors of their home. The 1st floor is where the surviving roommates were sleeping. It's mostly considered a basement. This could explain why they did not hear anything. This is the first. So when you see the picture, let me show you the other picture. When you see this picture, you're seeing the front right here. This is kind of considered like the basement, I guess, and this is where the keypad would be. But the side, there's a sliding door here. This is the 2nd and 3rd floor. There's stairs right there, and it's like straight access to the 2nd and 3rd floor. So it seems like there's more of a distance. Yeah, the Zillow thing, I did all that earlier today too. We were looking at the Zillow. It might make more sense looking now. I'm not really even that interested so far in the video we're watching. Maybe the Zillow will make more sense now. That's the sliding. We covered kind of a lot of the whole thing earlier, but this is the sliding door right there. They show the stair. Oh, here's the staircase. Sliding door. And somebody, I've gone through so many posts today. I don't remember which one is said it, but they said that, yeah, when you go in, first thing you see is like this kitchen area or whatever through the sliding door. More pics of house inside and outdoor in your Twitter DM article I sent. Okay, let's see. Fresha. Okay, I see you, Pimpin'. Okay. Oh, it's funny things. I had this article up, but we never finished going through it. It's actually still in my other tab. All right. Thank you. I wonder if I should read this article. I think I'm kind of done with that video, though, man. Unless you guys really want to watch it. Let's see. Idaho party house where 4 students were murdered. The 6-bedroom, 3-story house on King Road on Moscow was a popular choice of a party venue for University Idaho students until the gruesome killings. Now the property is a blood-soaked crime scene, and the community is petrified. All 4 were murdered in their beds, which I don't know, because the other report had said that they wouldn't say who was in their bed and who wasn't. Some of them were, I guess. According to the coroner, who said that they suffered multiple deep wounds, which suggested the attack was personal. It was the late night or early morning hours, so it seems likely they were sleeping. Okay. This is the sliding door that one of the girls' fathers believed may have been used by the killer to gain access to the home in the early morning Sunday hours. Another sliding door. Really? There's 2? Another sliding door in the home opens into the master bedroom. Oh, okay. It's unclear where exactly each student was sleeping, but they were all in their beds. The second floor of the house, all 4 of the victims were asleep at the time of the murder. It remains unclear how the killer gained access. Second floor of the house. Okay, this is the staircase. The second floor of the house, all 4 victims were asleep at the time of the murder. It remains unclear how they gained access. Okay. One of the bedrooms in the home, the 6-bedroom property, was rented out by the girls for $2,500 a month, and it's a 15-minute walk to the campus. An exterior of the off-campus Idaho home leads out into bushes in the backyards of the surrounding homes, which I'm guessing maybe that's where the person may have taken off to. Eyes all around, there are multiple homes near the property, but so far no neighbors have come forward with any information. Oh yeah, the foundation, blood. That's crazy, man. Kaylee's sister said a lot of people had access to the house and the code to the front door because the girls were so sociable. Okay. Those are the roommates. Oh, we saw that already, right? Where's Cuomo?
One of them was 21.
Yeah, I think personally.
Yeah, we saw that. Jack Schwager is not thought to have been in the home when an identified killer murdered his girlfriend. Yeah. Okay. All these clips we've seen. Oh, the visual I haven't seen, but. So when they say bypass, I don't know, like, it's not like he literally passed them, but the second and third floor right there. If he went through that sliding door and if they were in a second and third floor, it'd be pretty easy to.
You know, we're 300 miles away from Moscow. It says that we're all one community, we're all one Idaho. You know, we're 300 miles away from Moscow, but clearly their presence is still felt here tonight. You know, we all come together when we need each other, and tonight we all need each other.
Okay. Scroll all the way down. All right. I don't know. You guys, maybe I'll just put the link to this. I don't know. You want to listen to this?
you know, especially with a knife, because when we see mass killings, typically that's a firearm. And for somebody to use a knife is unique.
Dragging a little bit.
And you know, I think that if this is somebody in the community that is still there, you know, the police are probably going out and talking to people and saying, you know, who may have felt a social or peer rejection from one or all of these individuals, who may have been talking about, you know, morbid things or fascinated with knives, and other things that may be something that law enforcement is going to want to focus on. And when we talk about the FBI's involvement and the capacity that they have to, again, look at the psychology of the suspect and the crime scene, the victimology, these are things that they're going to be examining and following up on.
So definitely some profiling. I mean, I think we've heard that they are doing that.
And I hope they are. I mean, in a case like this, whether it's, you know, 24 hours old or, you know, it's a few days old, you know, that is one of the resources that the FBI can bring. And it's not just, you know, the people in Idaho. I mean, you're reaching out. The one strength, you know, many strengths that the FBI has, but one of those is they can bring very smart people, you know, into this that aren't in Idaho, that aren't in Utah, that are literally across the country, but have specialties in these areas. You know, they also bring, you know, great investigative powers. They bring, you know, the ability to look at a lot of different investigative leads, electronic, you know, we leave a footprint everywhere we go now. There are cameras everywhere. We have satellites. We have other, you know, tools that the FBI has to be able to track people down that may have been in that area or saying something or doing something. You know, they bring those great resources and money sometimes, you know, with other, you know, means of getting, you know, source information. And so that's going to be powerful and very helpful, hopefully, in this case.
And do you think it complicates things given the fact that, you know, we've heard this was kind of a party house, it's on Greek Row, all of these people are in the Greek community, a lot of friends going in and out. I mean, I just imagine, you know, trying to narrow down if you did have some DNA, that would be really challenging, I imagine.
It could. I mean, you know, the fact that this is a college town, this is a college community, and when I say that, the neighborhood that they work, you know, they live in, the area that it happened, people in and out, you know, the characteristics of, you know, a college town and a college area and a college house. And that throws it in. The fact that they are in the Greek, the fraternities, sororities, people that they associate with, you know, there's larger numbers. But we also have to remember we've got the whole college campus. We have the town. We have the people that, you know, associate with the college students and these specific students in particular. Those are all, you know, areas that you have to run down the leads. And again, I'll go back to, you know, the Moscow Police Department is a certain size police department. They have specific capabilities. Bringing in those federal partners, bringing in the state police, you're able to run down a lot more leads than simply if you had 3 detectives trying to gather everything, because there is going to be a need to interview and contact and do research and analysis on a lot of different people, let alone when we start talking about that electronic footprint, you know, the surveillance, the cameras, the phone pings, the cell phone towers that had people there, you know, again, and going into other technology.
But they have the technology that I thought they could pick up. I don't know if it works after the fact. I thought they had the technology that they could pick up all the cell phone devices in an area. I don't know if that only works at the current time, or I guess it would only work at the current time. Like if they're looking for somebody.
Technologies that our federal partners probably have and hopefully are going to utilize in this case. And that takes resources. It takes, you know, boots on the ground, but it also takes resources to have those expertise. When you add to that, you know, the fact that the FBI brings, you know, for instance, the BAU, you know, behavioral and psychological profiling, you know, that has to be broken down. Victimology has to be done on all the victims as to who they were, what was going on in their lives, who are they surrounding themselves. You know, then you're going to look at the crime scene. And that crime scene is probably going to have a significant amount of information for those people in the FBI that are going to look at the behavior of the suspect. What happened? what type of crimes were committed during that. Was there kidnappings or assaults, or was there a sexual assault? Was it an ambush? Was it overkill? Did it appear to be organized? Did the person bring the weapon with them? Did they take a weapon from the house? All those things are going to tell you a lot about who the suspect was and why those victims were chosen.
Pressure said they can get data after the fact. Just curious. Yeah, maybe they can. I don't know. It's probably going to be a lot of devices, but if you specify it to a certain time, I don't know.
And, as I said, if this is a true victim crime, then I think that, it becomes a little more difficult because, we're not dealing with people necessarily in that community.
And by true victim, kind of remind me what you mean by true victim.
You bet. True victim crimes are those crimes where the victim and the suspect are going to have no connection. These are, when we think about a Ted Bundy, when we think about, a serial killer like Israel Keys, these are, the victims are chosen, the crimes are well planned, they're organized, but there's a purpose to that. And I think what's interesting is if this person is outside their group, family, friends, associates, Greek community, college community, the actual community in Moscow, Idaho, that has a connection to the family or the college. If they're outside that, it again becomes a little more difficult to identify that individual. If they are within that group, we're going to be able to focus, and we're probably at some point going to contact them and interview them and talk to them about, if they have any information.
And this might be hard to answer, but I mean, do you think they know who this person is at this point, and they're just not saying?
And here's the thing: in that profiling, we look at what are potential. You get some great subject matter experts in there, people that can look at crime scenes and victimology, and although it may not be perfectly scientific, you have some really experienced investigators with some good backgrounds, that can look at this and say, what does this appear to be based on what we have? Is it revenge? Is it power? Is it anger? Is it meant to terrorize them? Was there a financial advantage to them? Was it robbery or burglary? And they can look at a lot of those and maybe then push themselves out to who may be involved in that. Now, I'll say this, one of the things that with my experience in being involved with FBI and some of their investigations, one of the best things that they do is keep a good secret. And I think that as I work, in different things now as a private investigator, both on both sides, that is an important trait. I have to tell you that when I worked investigations, we had what we call rule number one. Rule number one is don't say anything, because that information needs to be kept close. We can't get the media or family sometimes even knowing that information, because again, it can tip people off, and sometimes minutes are important. It can redirect people's behavior and get them more prepared when we come knocking on their door, or surveillance, or wiretaps and things that we may be doing. And so I don't think it's unusual for the police to absolutely, in the FBI, not to say anything. This could be a good sign, meaning that they got a pretty good idea who this is, and they are working hard to identify them, to get the evidence, to move to the next point. At the same time, again, if we look at this as maybe a true victim or somebody that's outside that social circle of theirs, we may not know who they are right now. And that, to me, from the possibility that we don't know who they are, we don't have any information. This is not, and I'll get, with the FBI tracking, is this something that's happened somewhere else in the country in the last few days or weeks or months? Is this, method that they used, or is the MO in this case similar to one other one, that, or multiples? It may be. And then we have to worry about serial killers or spree killers. But, again, I as what they've put out right now, I think there's going to be somebody closer in the community. I think it's going to be somebody that may not necessarily be close to them, but close enough in that circle that they're going to be able to identify and then move forward with hopefully putting together a good case so that they can make an arrest and then move on to prosecute and get justice for these kids.
Yeah, and they have called it. They repeatedly have called it a targeted attack.
Right.
So what does that tell you? That,
it's
like you said, it's someone within their...
It's probably somebody that is going to be in that circle. Doesn't mean that they're right up against them. We when we look at homicide cases, violent crime cases, a lot of time, we have to go one step away. A spouse, a family member, then we move a little bit further away. Associates and friends, neighbors, coworkers, classmates. Then we move a little bit, further away.
Some of them did work at the Greek restaurant, right? Together.
Boyfriends, girlfriends, ex-spouses, people that we dated. And again, when they say, when they make a statement like that, then you look at what is the motive? Is it revenge? Is it, peer rejection, social rejection, and especially within those Greek communities where people
social rejection
are either in or they're out.
Is that what it is like in the Greek communities? Are they rough like that?
And that especially at a college age, that can maybe, put out maybe an anger that goes, and then, maybe a terror response, meaning that I want to terrorize somebody. I want them to make them pay. And so I think those are, when we look at the revenge, the power, the anger, or, maybe causing terror, those may be some of the motivations to somebody closer than a random true victim crime, meaning that the individual is passing through, or the individual may be from the area, but, not connected to the victims.
Yeah, rejection. That's true. I think rejection is a strong feeling for some people.
Those are good possibilities at that point, especially if that is what we're hearing from law enforcement at this time.
And again, what does it tell you, given the fact that this person used a knife?
That, it's interesting, because when we have multiple killers or mass killings, we have, we've had, school shootings or school deaths where we have a school place or workplace, but higher probabilities it's going to be a gun. The fact that it's a knife may tell us, that this is more personal. It may mean that the individual, could be as simple as the individual doesn't have the capacity to possess a gun. They're restricted. They don't have the ability to get a gun. They can't afford to buy a gun. It may have been, again, if we're looking at maybe a revenge type of thing, it may have been something that was meant to be scary, and it cascaded. And that was the only weapon that they had on them. When we see brute force and knives, sometimes those are disorganized in the sense that the individual uses that knife or a blunt force that they find at the scene, at that time. Opportunistic, meaning that I'm coming in the house to burglarize it or commit a theft, and I get caught, and my only, weapon at that time is a knife. But I do say there's a violence and a terror when a knife is used. Especially with the fact that 4 people were killed, not 1.
Do you think this suspect should be scared at this point?
It depends. And I always say that, with some, if this is somebody that has done this before, they're organized, they are in that group of what we would consider a serial killer. I think the fact that they haven't been discovered is part of what I think empowers them. And it is concerning to us. So if that's the category of person, they're probably less, because of their their confidence, their antisocial behavior. Some
of the incel people are kind of weird, aren't they? I'll be careful though, because they get really offended.
Some of the traits that go along with people that are involved in those kind of crimes, I don't think that they're too worried. I mean, when we look at successful serial killers that avoid law enforcement for a period of time, that's one of the things that they really that's a trait that they set themselves up so there's a low probability that they're going to be discovered right away. But eventually good police work, the citizens involved in making comments about what's going on, and a little bit of luck. I always think you can only be so good, and luck always runs out. And that's what we sometimes hang our hat in law enforcement as success with. If this is somebody in the community, this is somebody connected a little closer to the social, they should be worried. The truth is that if that is the person, they should be greatly worried, because
there was some weirdo recently that was arrested, some weirdo incel that it went viral. I think he was stalking some woman. Some weirdo Damn, bro. I tried to look up this guy, typed in incel arrest, and a bunch of other weirdos popped up. But it's not the one that I'm looking for. Oh, there he is. So when you scroll past the weirdos, right, you got to go down past the weirdo incels guys, right? Incel arrest. You scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Wait, he was here somewhere. The recent guy that was arrested. I can't find him now. He got lost. There he is. This is the guy. I saw a different image earlier. Here he is. Making stalking video. A man in viral stalking video posted about Nazis, incels, and R. The weirdo.
I go back to
gang of them.
We leave a footprint. Everything that we do, things are different than 30 years ago when I started in law enforcement. I mean, there is the
and those guys get really pissed off. Ooh, you deny them, reject them, or no, I'm not interested. Oh, oof.
Technology out there, the ability that law enforcement, and especially at the federal level, the ability that we can leverage and exploit things within technology makes it very, very powerful. License plate readers, video cameras, surveillance cameras, just about everywhere we go. People are out and about on social media. They're taking pictures, they're taking videos, and they don't always realize that that picture has somebody in the background or has a timestamp or a place. The fact that wherever we go with our phones, we're leaving a physical, footprint. I think an Idaho case that is a good example is it takes some time. But with the Daybell case over in eastern Idaho, the FBI sat down and they were able to put together, literally second by second cell phone locations of where people were on a specific date and time. We have to remember that we have satellites, a lot of satellites, private and public satellites that are flying over, taking pictures all the time, and those pictures can be used as a resource for law enforcement to track people down and see who was in the area and who was moving and how things changed. All those resources are there. And so when I say this is a local person, these are things that are going to be looked at. The fact that it's a knife, I think, is also important. If that person is local, the question that I would be asking, significantly in the college community and the community around there, anybody fixated with knives? Anybody fixated
with knives? What kind of stores carry those knives?
With the knife that they've mentioned that they're looking for is a military, style knife. So who's got a fascination with the military, especially somebody that's not in the military, failed military, maybe tried to get in, but for various reasons couldn't. But they still may be fascinated with with that weapon, because that's a unique weapon that people may use. Idaho's a hunting state, and so knives are not uncommon with regards to the recreating and that. But that knife, I think, is unique. If that is in fact the style of knife, I think it's a unique knife. And it tells us maybe a little bit about who that person is that has it.
And you've kind of touched on this earlier, but just kind of explain to people, what are detectives, investigators, what are they doing right now?
I think that hopefully the victimology of all four people was a real highlight at the beginning. The fact that they've got multiple resources, state police, FBI, we can do multiple things at one time. We're running down the victimology. We are doing analysis of the crime scene. That crime scene is telling us a lot about what happened. What was the sequence of what happened? What type of other activities occurred before or after? Were the bodies staged after they were killed? Were the bodies in any way, manipulated? Was there assaults on the bodies? What happened? The defensive wounds, what were people aware of what was going on? Were they trying to defend themselves? Was there a fight? The thing about knives is with a lot of knife wounds, once you stab, unfortunately, liquid starts to get on the knives. And as people stab, it's not uncommon for the knife literally to slip and cut the suspect's hand. And so if that happened, we're going to have, blood and DNA mixed in. And so, it's going to be very important as they analyze the blood. Is there a mixture of not the victims, the victim's blood versus maybe getting the suspect's blood? Was there blood, did we find droplets as the person left the house and outside? Those are going to be critical because they're going to tell us, what happened. I think, the question of the detectives and the FBI is going to say, was this an organized crime scene or was it disorganized? Was this planned, unplanned, or was it a mix? Were there things that are actually, within the traits of what happened, are there mixed? And then, really trying to focus on what was the motive? Was there overkill in how many, stab wounds these people, made? Was there stab wounds specifically to the chest, the neck, and the head, which would tell us about maybe some anger, some rage that the subject had at those people, or at somebody else that may have been, that they may have been targeting. Sex assault, unfortunately, is, one of those determining factors as to, was there any, type of assault before?
They said there wasn't.
Beforehand, and if there
I
was,
think they did rule out sexual assault. That they said that they didn't find any evidence of that. So
that's good. And so again, because with sex assault homicides, there's a lot of literature out there, but again, what I teach and what kind of foundation, what I have is there's 4 types of suspects there. And so when you have a sex assault homicide, you're going to focus on 4 types of suspects and who fits into those categories and those traits and those personalities. The fact that there's not, again, goes back to what is the motivation? Revenge, social rejection, anger, power, money, financial, profit, and like I said, human behavior. And that's the FBI with the behavioral analysis. The FBI is looking at this from what are common human behaviors that these suspects have. It's not always perfect, but we are able to take human behavior, and in a lot of cases, those things replicate themselves in these crimes. And we're able to find, and that's, again, where we're finding some of those personalities. It's not scientifically perfect. There are, high probabilities, low probabilities, medium probabilities that we may have. And we sometimes know that even though we think it's this person, when we actually retrospectively go back, we were off and wrong. And I think the FBI has done a good job from when my dad was in there in the 80s doing this till now, is that they go back and they see what did they miss. And they learn from that, and there's great lessons learned. And I think in this case, the nice thing is that we have a lot of experience probably with the FBI and the local police and the state police, and they're probably using every tool in their tool belt to find out who did this.
And what does it tell you that there's been crime tape at this house since Sunday, and they're still there processing this scene?
Yeah, I teach investigations, and this is one of those things that. When I work on the defense side of things as a defense investigator, you get a first time first. And I teach that in my investigations class. You only get a first time first. If you walk away from that scene and think, oh my goodness, we got to go back, there's a possibility that somebody's altered it, tainted it, removed something. Don't give up the scene.
I don't normally go this long.
That's one of the things that I sometimes see, and this is a big case, and I don't think they would do it, but in other cases, law enforcement gives up the possibility of gaining more evidence, or just kind of engages in a mediocre investigation and leaves things, and then maybe comes back later. And throughout my career, I saw that happen where we release a scene and a few hours later somebody's calling us and saying, hey, I found something. That is not good for your investigation. And so the fact is, hold that scene as long as you need it. It could be a day, it could be 5 days, it could be 2 weeks. Hold it, because as we look, we may not have got it on the first look, but we still own that scene. It's not tainted, and we can go back in there and collect that evidence as if it's the first time.
I think
first time first.
They just cut it too. That was good enough. All right, I'm done, yo. Thank you so much for the super chat, LL. Bro, I thought you ended the stream an hour ago. Me too. I think when I said that earlier, like 700-800 people left, and we still kept going. Christina, thank you so much for the super. Oh, can't even talk. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says thanks for all you cover. Still waiting on a good chase. I know. Get some sleep. If there's a chase, I'll be back tonight. But I'm gonna be chilling. Gonna relax. But if there's a chase, I'll definitely come back. I might have to take some caffeine though if there is a chase, just to come back. But I'm gonna relax, man. Thank you guys so much. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Whether it's updates. If not, I'm gonna probably cover a new story. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Thank you guys. Love you. Take care.